All right. I think we're getting to be live. Did I already misplace something? Yes, there it is. We're trying something new today. Nothing crazy, just something new. And that is, I have a tablet that I should be able to control my camera with now, so I don't have to walk back and forth to the laptop every time. So I pressed overhead. Now it should be switching to the overhead camera. So much of a delay for me to tell if it's working. I'll walk over here. Yes, it's working. Table overhead. Then overview. That's me. Overview. Yes, fantastic. Mobile cam, which is facing random things in the corner. Good. Yes. And then top cam again. Then we should have top cam zoom, which is just kind of zoom in what we got going on the table already. That one is not working. Why aren't you working? There we go. Wait. Oh, I can't do both? As always, I know how much I love. You guys know how much I love starting a stream. Not ready at all. So. Hey, there we go. Zoom. Hooray. Back to overview. Overhead for everything. And zoomed in view will do us after transmissions. Fantastic. Alright, back to the overview scene. This thing still has a bajillion battery life. This is incredible. I love this. Alright, speech chat should be on and working, so if anyone wants to say hi in chat, test that out, feel free to go ahead. Oh, I can hear myself talking though, that's not good. Alright, that should be fixed. And now speech chat should be good to go. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Sounds like the stream's really quiet for some reason. The audio's quiet from my end, but welcome and good morning. I'm guessing it's Saturday morning then, since it's Friday night over here. I have not set up the stream in a while since last time some of you guys saw the stream, if you watched our most recent one, was 2 weekends ago. During that stream, we were actually in Virginia at a friend's house. So I brought like half of my stream equipment to his house and set up in his garage for the evening. And now I decided that since we are going back to working on transmission stuff, we might as well stream again now as we assemble this transmission. So I just spent the last hour or two trying to set all the stream stuff back up. Now that it's here, I should be able to take some of this crap off the table. And I'll give some people a chance to filter in and say hello. If this is your first time to the stream, welcome. Glad to have you. This is normally how the beginning works out. It's sort of slow in the beginning as people filter in. I don't have a good way to promote the stream. I usually post stuff like this to Facebook, but recently Facebook has been really upset if you ever try to post links that lead people to stuff outside of Facebook. Facebook would much rather I stream on Facebook Live and get them more clicks, and when I don't, they get angry and they hide my stuff. So if you saw this from Facebook, then fantastic. I'm glad at least some people can serve the content. To pick up basically from where we left off the other night, the transmission case is ready. The diff is basically ready. I think we have one more bearing. We have to pop out of this differential right here. So this is a 4.388 differential from a Ford Probe KLDE transmission. So this is from the 5-speed. The donor 6-speed transmission I have is also a 4.388 ratio. So that's why we can use this diff and not have to do any messing about with the ring gear swapping or drilling out all these pins, which, as we found out on our last weekend adventure, is a huge pain. So there'll be none of that this time around, thankfully. I bought some new wire wheels and stuff so I can clean the case a bit nicer. I don't want to be in and out of the engine bay.
Said, new transmission stream, let's go.
Yes. More and more transmission goodness. But this stream will also feature some good Festiva stuff. I don't think I posted a link to the Festiva page yet, but I know a lot of Festiva owners who will be very happy to get a sneak peek at some of these. Yes. We'll talk about those more later when there's more people here from the Festiva page, but you're ready for a sneak preview of this greatness. And we're going to talk about some other cool new products that are coming to the TheFestivaStore in the coming weeks/months, because there's a lot of stuff that I have finally either paid for or confirmed the availability of or confirmed production of. So I'm very excited to share some of that with you guys. Let's go back to the overhead for a second. Maybe. I don't know if it's the app not working or if it's my gloves not working. Oh, it's my gloves. There we go. Overhead view. So there's our differential. Now I need to grab some other transmission parts. So I will go grab things like the case and the gear set. And we are hoping Steven should be here shortly and he can help me do some of this stuff. For anybody in here who's messed with the KL G-Series transmission, this should look mighty familiar, other than the end cap. That's because basically all this is. This really is just a KL transmission on the outside with a funky looking end cap. Take our new OEM bolts out of here and split it back open in preparation for what we got to do. Yes. Everything in here is looking mighty familiar. Which is good. It'd be bad to open up a transmission that you just tore apart and look all very unfamiliar, right? I just recently unloaded all this from the truck. That's why it's all in the back corner still. So go back to the overview here and grab the rest of the stuff. Maybe you guys can see it since I moved the camera a bit. Wow, that clear sheet is blown out hard in these lights. Oh well. This stuff. I guess I'll trip over everything here. I tried to put it in the title, but this is another stream that's a great chance to ask any questions you have, and I can try my best to answer them. So I always like to have the chat open for Q&A type stuff, but especially today, since we're doing stuff for the 6-speed, if anybody's watching this and you had questions about the 6-speed stuff, now's a good chance to ask those. I mentioned before, I'll be doing a long format actual film and edited guide video, so if you want to know how to do this step by step, I'd wait for that to happen.
Turbo323 said, was anything changed on the selector gate on the casing?
Yes. So the shift gate mechanism does need modified. This one we've modified already, and I can go back to our zoomed in overhead view here for a second. See if I can take this off my finger. Maybe. And for all the 90s based G series, like this one, late 90s, this is a 95, I believe. You don't need to buy any extra parts per se, but you do need to modify this part. Early G series, use a totally different part. So I don't need an actual ratchet for this one. So this piece stays the same internally for the rod. So you have your little selector piece on the rod itself. Same for the ball end. That stays the same. Just full rod selector. However, the shift gate itself needs slotted. So the main mount holes, we have milled those down for a slot. So that way the transmission can move all the way to one side. On the bottom side, you will see we have machines. That way it can get into reverse. Because reverse in this case is just pass first. So if I get the light to hit it just right, you can see there the machine work we had to do to make that possible. And forgive the blurriness and stuff. I'm trying to get the camera to autofocus from it hanging up on the ceiling right now. And again, the guy will show this a lot in further detail, but you can see the extra side. So we had to open up so we go over and made it a little bit thinner so it go all the way back to where reverse is now on the transmission. And then the main holes here and here, those get slotted so the whole thing can get scooted up a bit in the case. Put that back in for now. Wipe all that oil off my hands and go grab some more parts because we're going to need the gears themselves and the shift forks, the new bearings, and some bearing selector tool or some shim selector tools along with the shims.
Turbo323 said, awesome, thanks for explaining.
Absolutely. heavy stuff we're gonna need here. So these are all parts. These are all parts. We got our diff. Looks like I got some of the shift forks. Not sure if they're for this trans or not. I'm obviously not as prepared as I thought I was. I need to figure out where the tote is with the actual gears for this transmission, the shafts and the gears. Some extra ear protection. Nice to have. Alright, yeah, somewhere I've got a bin that actually has the gear set I need for this trans. So here's 5th and 6th gear stuff, the bearings for that. I've got my shift forks, which should be to this transmission. Some shims, which is good. We got our case, we got our reverse. Missing 2 shafts. Here's one of the shafts. Yep. The half cut, we might need that later. I'm just missing the input shaft side. Alright, I found 3 input shafts. I don't know which one is which for this transmission, so let's try to figure that out through visual investigation only. And at first glance, I would say these are all for a 5-speed, not a 6-speed. But that doesn't really make sense. Let's go to overhead for a second and see what we're dealing with here. So I've been keeping track a bit of these because I know this one is for this transmission because this is from the Fusion, which is the donor for this trans, and it has a big white paint stripe on it. Now, I thought I'd put its pair right next to it, but apparently I haven't. Meanwhile, over here, we've got 3 input shafts, which I would have said are all 5-speed ones. It for sure can't all be 6-speed ones because we should only have 2 6-speed input shafts here because one of them is already in Steven's transmission. But the lengths here all look the same to me, so these must be the used ones from the 5-speeds. So somewhere I should have another input shaft for the 6-speed. If I go back over here, though, there's one more in this crate that's paired already. It's got a mate. It's got zip tied to another piece. That way I don't lose track of what's what. So that's not it. What is this? This. That's 16. Oh no. It's lost in hands. Three of them. Alright. My Synchro teeth just came out. That's kind of important. Alright, here we go. This must be a 5-speed output shaft. Because it is short. It does not have the extended top bit for the gear like this does. That means this must be our 6-speed shaft. But some gears are missing. The gears are off of it because we took it apart. That's right. So I had to find the other gear stack for this thing, I suppose. I'm guessing that's what this box of goodies here must be for. Well, this stream might end up being more of assembly prep than actual assembly, which means tomorrow's stream will be covering the actual assembly more so. But it does give us a good chance to answer some questions. I'll be right back. I gotta get a drink for a second. So I'm gonna hop in the house and grab a drink. I am going to put our review camera back to where it belongs. So yes, I'm gonna get a drink, and I might grab the other tablet so that we can look at the service manual to make sure we're getting the gears on the right order on the shaft. It should be pretty straightforward with these. There are little retainers though that are new for the G6 using a double cone Synchro compared to the G5. I want to make sure we get that right the first time. So I'll be right back. That's right, I'm back. Sorry for leaving the stream so long. Turns out Steven is here. He's just busy chatting my wife up about kitchen cabinetry. So I told him he should come out here and help because I'm already lost. Gonna get our bearing kit ready and get the tools ready. All right. Couple more parts here. So the OEM tools are a big part of this process. The Mazda tool is almost impossible to get. Thankfully, I was able to source all the Ford tools needed, since this is also used on Fords. Ford has an equivalent tool. So I have all the Rotunda tools needed. We will discuss these tool by tool as we get into it, but do this right requires a bunch of these, actually. And maybe I'll stack them up here for a second to give you an idea of just exactly what this takes. Pardon my hand for a moment.
Said, what's the RPM drop from 5th to 6th gear at say 70 miles per hour?
That's a loaded question because there's a lot of different transmission gear sets that are available for this. There's a lot of different wheel sizes you guys can be running. There's a lot of different engine RPMs you guys can be running. Or I guess that doesn't matter, but wheel size and the exact transmission you pick matters a lot. At the end of the day, though, you should keep in mind this is not a 5+1 transmission. Generally speaking, this will only barely drop your RPM at 70, and it will only drop it if you choose the optional gear set that I have available, the optional JDM gear set that drops your RPM a ton. Generally speaking, though, the 5th gear and 5th in your 5-speed, oh, my face isn't there anymore. 5th on a 5-speed is the same as 6th in a 6-speed. This is not a 5+1 transmission. This is a close ratio box. So 5th and 6th are the same, and then everything else gets closer together. So 1 through 5 now close ratio. So you're always in your power band. Every time you shift, you're more likely to be in boost or in your peak power for NA. You're shifting more often. In long sweeping corners, you now have the option of picking the exact right gear. So being like, is 2 right, or maybe 3 is better. Now you have more gears to choose from. So this is not going to drop your RPM a ton. That being said, it will drop it quite a bit if you option out the best gear I offer, which right now is a 0.06 or a 0.68 ratio 6th, along with the 4.105 ratio final drive. That if you have any car besides a diesel 323, that is guaranteed to help drop your RPMs. That being said, you can do that same modification to a 5-speed if you want, but obviously more gear is more fun. If you tell me your tire size and your final drive ratio, be it 4.105 or 4.388. I can pull up my chart and you can see the math. You know exactly what your RPMs are at 70. But yes, I can do that math for you, but I need to know your tire size to do that. And I would be happy to show you guys on stream the fancy Excel sheet I made with a ton of data. I've been collecting data, ton of data collection over the past 2 months to make this happen. And every time I collect some new information, I catalog it. So I've been building this huge Excel spreadsheet. It's got math in it. It's got VMAX calculators in it. It's got built-in 80-mile-an-hour
Parsons
ratio stuff built into it.
What kind of torque and HP ratings will this setup be capable with? Have a P5 race car been chewing through trans? And now having clutch issues with the Toyota Trans swap.
So all we can say for sure is that this is stronger than a standard G5. Beyond that, there's too many variables to say that this has X. Like if you're launching it, obviously it's going to hold way less power than somebody treating it gently. I've got one guy they're helping build a transmission for who's doing land speed record stuff. So in his case, first, second, and third don't even matter. It's more about how strong fifth and sixth are. And for him, fifth and sixth in this case are insanely strong compared to the 5-speed because it has the additional third bearing set on the outside edge. So it just depends what you're doing exactly. So I can't tell you for sure. I can tell you it's definitely stronger than the stock 5-speed is. I don't think it's going to be stronger than the E153 or the E350. Those are probably still stronger transmissions than this will be. But again, we don't really know. First of all, not many people have done the swap. And second of all, there's no good way to say that this trans can hold X amount of power. Somebody will always find a way to break a transmission with any amount of power. So yeah, it's stronger than the stock one. It's probably not as strong as an E153, but I can't guarantee exactly how much. It's just better. How much better exactly, we don't know. It's kind of hard to quantify. All right, for tools, we have the Essential Service Kit for the 1988 Ford Pro. There's that.
Said 0.68 ratio in the JDM low RPM option. Not knowing the gear ratios myself, what is the gear ratio of your standard fifth gear? Looking for extreme miles per gallon here.
I need to know your exact car to tell you what your current fifth ratio is. Here, tell you what, I'll just pull up the chart real quick, and you can peruse it while I go collect some tools. How about that?
Said 1990 Festiva.
All right, so here's the chart pulled up. If you currently have a stock Festiva 5-speed, that is basically the best you're going to do. You are not going to swap in a transmission that's going to have a better ratio than that. Because the Festiva is already built for, it's got a suit right here. Sorry, wrong button. So right here, if you look at this row 6, this is a Festiva transmission right here. So the very first thing, that's a Festiva 5-speed. Right here, assuming you have a Festiva size tire, 21.1, your RPM at 80 is 3270. And if you look at this big chart, you'll notice none of these numbers are smaller than that. Even if you go over here and look at gear swaps, none of these numbers are smaller than that number. If you want the best cruising speed for a Festiva, leave it alone. Don't do any swaps. That is the best transmission you can get. For everybody else who wants more power in the transmission, the next best thing is the Cable G series from the Capri, because it has a 3.85 final drive ratio. You can do a 0.68 gear swap into fifth. That brings you down to 3275 for a Festiva. which is only 5 more RPM. So that's almost identical. This 5th gear swap on the Capri transmission stock gets you almost back to stock for a Festiva. However, you cannot use a 3.8 final drive ratio on the G6. The G6 only has 2 options, 4.105 or 4.388. So if you come down here to the math, we'll get this one, for example, the Mazda 5 G6, which already has a 6-gear ratio of 0.68, the best you can get, a 4.105 final drive ratio, which is the best you can get for a G6, and that would bring your RPM down to 3877. So not incredible. Obviously, it's worse than stock, but that's totally doable. Most of all, though, it gets you much better shift points for your transmission. So if I go to 5G6, you'll see our Vmax spread here looks really good. 30 miles an hour, 50, 72, 97, 120, and 140 miles an hour. And that's with the stock rev limiter. If I come in here and I say that I'm willing to shift at 7100 RPM, which is easy to do with a tuned engine, now you see all the ratios, everything changes automatically for you based on the math of this, because of the Excel math. So now I go back to this one, 32, 53, 80, 107, 132, all the way up to 154 miles an hour. That's great. That's a pretty good spread right there. Or sorry, Mazda 5 is that's the one I wanted. We'll open up here. Yeah, Mazda 5, 30, that's your best ratio. So here, 32, then 2nd gear, you can hit 60. So you go 0 to 60 with only 1 gear change. That's pretty awesome. Then 90, 120, 146, all the way up to 162 possible max speed. So,
said, this is very useful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Eventually, I will have this chart available for anybody to play with. I'm trying to figure out how to lock it down so that way you guys can only change the data in that little green box. Right now, if I share this editable, somebody can come in here and just like delete and change every number of the chart, which would be really bad. It'd break all the math and ruin all my hard work. So I'm still working on a way to make it so that you guys can play with that chart freely. I'll leave it up for a minute so you guys can kind of peruse, get an idea of how all these gear ratios and stuff work, and how some of that math works, while I go gather these tools for a second. As well as sit on this diet dew. Lord bless us. If you guys want to peruse that further, take a screenshot or something, I have to switch back to the camera. So there's your warning. Get your screenshots in now. I'm going to switch back over. Oh, wait. This is the time I get to use the tablet. Hooray! I want overview scene. Okay, I don't know why it wants to be so blurry looking, but whatever. Maybe I can zoom in temporarily. Or maybe I can just clean up the camera a bit.
Said, clear on my end.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's too much to ask for to be able to read this text from all the way up there. Anyway, That's about how much zoom as we can get and still keep some quality. So we've got 3 primary kits we're going to need for this job. These 2 are what allow us to select our preload shims. Because when you swap gear sets from one case to another, or you do any sort of bearing work inside the transmission, you're going to need to check the preload shims between the 2. Each transmission has its own unique set of shims to help make sure there's the exact amount of preload needed on the bearings. That's for the differential, the input shaft, and the output shaft. To do that properly requires 2 kits for the Ford. You'll need
057 said, when are the wheel studs coming back to stock?
Yes, TheFestivaStore stuff. The studs will be back in stock. Actually, they should be back in stock Monday. They just arrived. We still have to unbox them, package them in a pack of 16, and get them into inventory. So that should be ready for Monday. So we have the essential toolkit for Tracer. This is T88C77000JT. So it'll come with all these little bolts, these weird little black spacers, and this fancy tool for determining spacer thickness. This one, though, is meant for the E-Series and the F-Series transmission. So we need bigger versions of that tool to fit the G-Series, which is where this next kit comes in. This is T88C77000C, part of the FHFLMH, aka 88 Pro. So now you'll see it looks very similar. We got some different size bolts if needed, and then we've got 3 bigger versions of that same spacer selection tool. And those will come in handy in front of the transmission when we are selecting our shims here in a bit. Also, quick note, anytime we're doing work on Mazda-based Fords / Ford-based Mazdas, there's only 3 kits. Ford-made tools for the Festiva, the Tracer, and the Probe. The 88 Probe, 88 Tracer, 88 Festiva. Those are the 3 sizes, basically, of Mazda they made. Every car made after that uses these older tools because all the other cars use parts that were based on these parts. So in this case, the non-turbo 88 Pro, which was the Mazda F2 engine, used a G-Series. Therefore, we're using the Pro tools to do G-Series work. Ford did not make more of these, which is crazy because the transmission we're working on right now, for example, our G6 donor, one of these G6 donors came from a 2013 Mazda 5. If you want to service a 2013 Mazda 5 transmission, you have to find somebody that has the tool set from 1988. They didn't make more. It's crazy. But that's for everything. So if you're doing escort work, Festiva work, Tracer work, 323 work, probe work, early probe and later probe, MX6, all your other escorts like the ZX2, any newer car like that, all the way up to the Ford Fusion and Mercury Milan, you have to have these old tool sets to do all that stuff. Because all the tools for those later G-Series stuff came out then, and they didn't remake them. And then last but not least, we have this big giant kit, which is T88C7000S, which is also part of the probe kit. It's got tons of tools for the probe in here, but what we want here most importantly are the bearing cup installer tools, differential cup installing tools, the torque tube adapter, which lets us hold the input shaft still with a big wrench, and it will have the pilot bearing installing tool for the flywheel later on. It has this cup, which is actually for the auto trans, but we can use it to help get some reach with our hammer in the process later on. And it comes with these very nice differential holders, so that when you're done building transmission, you pop these caps in your trans. It keeps your spider gears from falling out and keeps your seals nice. I actually 3D print copies of these. I didn't even know these existed. I thought when we 3D printed some that we were inventing a cool new tool. Turns out Ford beat us to it. The tools existed since 1987. It's very funny, in my opinion. Okay, so there's the tools we're going to need from Ford. So that's all specialty stuff. On top of this, we need bearing pullers. Ford has versions of it, but all of these tools are made by OTC, so we just went ahead and bought the OTC version of the tool. So here it is. We have our OTC bearing puller kit, which looks like that. And before now, when we were last in the garage doing this job on stream, we were using the Harbor Freight set of this tool, and the Harbor Freight set literally bent. We were using it, and it bent in half from the force we applied to it. So I decided it was time to upgrade and get the real deal. Okay, now that we're done looking at tools we'll be using, let us pull back out here. My mouse keeps losing. Come on. There we go. I knew you could do it, little buddy. All right. So that out of the way, let's look at our gear shaft set stuff here, and again finish clearing off the space to work. So back to table overhead.
Said, what were the life events that led you to get this deep in the transmissions?
Excellent question. So basically, it was 2 life events, all that happened in the last 6 months. Event 1, I got a 10th anniversary edition Miata for free over the summer. So that's the first Miata to use a 6-speed transmission instead of 5-speed. And Miata people actually hate the 6-speed. They're like, oh, you have to shift way too much, and it's always in the way. Hang on, I'll go back to overview for a second. It's always in the way, like you're always in the wrong gear for autocross, and it really sucks to drive. But in my opinion, shifting more is fun. So I drove it around because it's rusted, it's so rusty, it's not safe for the road. So I've been driving it for winter, and it's a ton of fun. Be able to shift 6 times, always in torque range for the BP, easy to do drifts with and stuff. It's just a lot of fun. And that's what makes manual cars fun. Shifting is what makes a manual, so why wouldn't you want to shift more? And I thought it'd be cool to have 6 speeds and more stuff, but that's, obviously almost impossible. Or so I thought. Then a month and a half later, I think early or late October, I saw a guy on a Mazda MX-6 page, Andrew Sutherland, mention that he had 6-speed swapped a KL. And I was like, whoa, how is that possible? And he did a quick basic description on Facebook. He's like, yeah, basically you need a 6-speed transmission from Mazda. Mazda made a G6, a factory 6-speed G-Series transmission. He's like, if you do enough work, you can put the guts of that into the case of a different G-Series, and boom, you have a 6-speed G-Series. You modify the shift linkage and stuff. So I asked him for some details on that. He sent me 3 pictures. He said, basically, you got to grind this hole here, you got to grind this little piece off of here, you slide it back together, and you're done, more or less. And I was like, okay, that sounds totally doable. So I have a KL Swapped Mazda Protege5 wagon outside right now. It's right over there. And I thought, oh, I have to do a transmission or an engine rebuild anyway. While I have it all pulled apart, wouldn't it be cool to convert my KL to a 6-speed? And I'll have the world's first KL swapped 6-speed swap Protege wagon. So I started looking into it. I did a bunch of research into Mazda G6s. I tried to find out exactly what they come from, what are the options, what kind of transmission ratios, what kind of diff ratios we're talking about, where's the best place to get them, how rare are they? The answer is they're very rare and typically very expensive. But I found a couple places that had a couple cheap ones. I started buying a couple just to play with so we could test some things. It cost a few $1,000s to get those donor 6 speeds. And then I thought, what's stopping us from making this fit a Festiva? If you do a G-Series swap to a Festiva, for people that are running a BP or B6T, that's a G-Series. So I could probably make a 6-speed Festiva as well. And that led Steve and I into this huge deep dive into all things G-Series. I already knew a good bit about G-Series. Right now, on TheFestivaStore.com, I actually sell a 5th gear swaps kit. That way you can get the 0.68 ratio 5th gear for a 5-speed, which is also compatible with the 6-speed. I did a ton of work sourcing those from Japan last year. And now I'm using some of that knowledge to build a 6-speed. And then that's when Steve and I found out that building a 6-speed cable-actuated G-Series for a Festiva is incredibly difficult. Building it for the KL is it's kind of hard. Building it for a Festiva is insanely hard. There's you have to put stuff on a lathe. You have to do a lot of machine work on hardened steel gears. You have to do machine work to a differential. Custom bolts need made. It's a lot of work. But we made it happen. So if you check out the live streams from before, you'll see the process it took us to make that happen. We were doing it twice. We already did it once. We built Steven's transmission for him, and it's done. It's ready to bolt into his car right now. Mine is halfway done. The rest of the gears in my case that's already modified are sitting over there in that pile. But tonight we're focusing on this one instead. And since I know how to do it, and I know the machine work required, and I know the people that can help me do it, I'm offering it as a service. So if you see my posts on the page recently, or on the MX6 groups, or the Protege groups, I'm officially offering this job as a service. So basically, you tell me what your car's differential ratio is. I go out in the wild. I try to source the best quality, cheapest G6 donor for you to save you money. You give me your 5-speed with a case on it, and then I tear it all apart. I do all the machine work. I do all the shift gate work. I do all the bearing work. I use the OEM tools to make sure you have the right shims. If you pay extra, I get you brand new Synchros from Mazda. I get you brand new bearings, all OEM from Mazda and from Japan, and I build this for you, like we're doing right now. But it's a lot of work, so it costs a lot of money for labor, but I'm using my expertise, hopefully, to help serve you guys and be able to do some more of this stuff. But that's what got me into it. I thought it'd be really fun to have a 6-speed and be the first person to do it on a KL Protege, and certainly the world's first person to do it on a Festiva, and now we are. So I did it. So now I'm going to pass on what I've learned to you guys and try to help you guys build your own dream transmission setup like this. What else do I need? I need to throw away some crap, and I need to sort through all the stuff on this desk. Ideally, this desk should get cleaned up some, so I have some more space to work on things.
Said. Awesome. All of it. Asido 057 said, I have a parts card 2000 Miata 1.8. Will the 1.8 fit in the Festiva? My Festiva is auto. Also, do you rebuild auto?
Steven's here!
Who's want to build an auto? Autos are stupid.
Yes, the 1.8 will fit in the Festiva, but you have to do a ton of work to convert it to a front-wheel drive engine. Miata is rear-wheel drive, so it has a different intake manifold, a different exhaust manifold, a different oil pan, a different valve cover.
Even with the 1.8, you have to do a lot of stuff to make the front-wheel drive 1.8s fit.
Right.
Anyways, so
now you're doing a ton of work. You have to source a front-wheel drive intake manifold, front-wheel drive exhaust manifold, front-wheel drive oil pan, a front-wheel drive valve cover. You have to source the front-wheel drive timing cover for that valve cover if that's something you want to run. You have to then mate it to your Autotrans. You have to swap your ECU to run the bigger BP injectors. You'll need to find a front-wheel drive BP distributor because the Miata doesn't use a distributor. It uses a coil pack and a CAS, which is a whole thing on its own. So generally, yes, technically, physically, it bolts up. Any Mazda B series will bolt to any Mazda B series transmission. And since the Festiva uses a B3, you can bolt in a BP. But the bolting in part, that's the easy part. The hard part's the accessories. So it's a lot easier to find somebody parting out a front-wheel drive version anyway. It'd be like Escort GT, Mazda 3 or Mazda Protege, and then the Tracer LTS.
well, there's the Kia one too, wasn't there?
Yes, there's a Kia BP for like 2 years. I think it was the Cephia.
But not to be confused with the
Spectra or the later Cephia with the T8D.
057 said, I get you. You're definitely a knowledgeable person.
Yeah, I've made it my life for some reason. Also, no, I don't rebuild the Autotrans. I barely rebuild the manual trans. This is all new. So I'm not
really
into
don't. Autos really don't fail that often.
Yeah,
they can hold quite a bit.
the Festiva automatic is almost bulletproof. You can put a BP on there and even some light boost, and it will hold up to a lot of abuse. But
in fact, you actually kind of want an automatic behind BP, so it helps keep the BP alive.
I just thought about a Festiva automatic is literally half the gears of this transmission.
Yeah.
You could swap an auto to this, and you're doubling your gears. That's crazy.
I came in for some advice on how to cut that board. Ended up just buying half a new kitchen from Home Depot.
Fantastic. It's a good thing you're not saving up for a trip or anything. Look at this, Steven. See that guy?
Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
There's OEM.
Yes.
Are they actually?
Yes. Individual Mazda baggies.
Hell yeah.
I don't like the aftermarket P clamps. They're too thick. So I was like, if I can get more of these for all my wiring all over the car, I put these on a firewall. I put it on the intake to hold my fuel line in that one spot. So I checked. I finally found the number for the slightly longer one. This is the longest one. I can't find the part number for the longest one they made, but it's the in-between one, and there it is. And it's actually gold zinc, fully dipped, so flexible.
That's crazy they actually stock parts like that still.
I asked for 20. They said, we can get you 10. You have to wait 2 months for the other 10. I said, frick it, cancel it, assume the 10 you have. And then it was such a small box, they did it with air. Got here in like 3 days. So, yeah, get hype. You guys can't see what I'm talking about. I can check this out, by the way. Tabletop zoom. Press this button.
Hell yeah. About time you do something like that.
Bang, there it is. So what I'm talking about now, guys, is on the transmission and a couple other spots of the car, there's this little bracket. It's literally just a piece of flat metal with some rubber coating on it to help hold your wires and stuff. I like these a lot. They rust away and they crack because it's old rubber. I wanted these to do wired management all over my car. So I asked Mazda Japan nicely, and they said sure. And they made me some brand new ones. So I've got a small quantity of those brackets, brand new from Mazda to hold all my wires, to hold fuel lines, to hold brake lines. It's very cool. And this is the shit that excites me. It's tiny pieces of hardware. Stuff that really makes your build go from a 9 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. You're like, oh, wow, this bayonet is very tough. You're like, yeah, it's tough with OEM Mazda clips. You're like, oh, shit, all right, weirdo. That's me, though. So that's cool. I'm excited about that. All right, so here's the disaster I'm currently looking at.
Nice. Well, the good thing is the 6-speed stuff's a little easy to go back together.
Yes, and thankfully I think there's only 3, right? The little inserts. I believe I tracked them down.
Yeah.
So are those the bits for... Oh, sorry, guys. You can't see. I'm going to go back to the not zoomed in overhead view. Are those the bits we need to finish putting the gear stack together?
I did that wrong. That's definitely... Yeah. G6.
Okay.
Since it only says G6 because that was the first G6 we had. Which
Right,
would be
Fusion.
the right one we need for your Protege.
Right, so this is the set for that. So
yeah, that's definitely...
this is our mid-gear. So this is not 5th, right?
5th and 6th look identical, so they scan it.
So this is 5th and 6th.
Yeah. The only difference is there's...
So I'm missing a gear,
Are you?
right? I don't see very many gears on this thing.
Yeah, you're missing this top one.
And it's not on this.
Oh, it's in that.
Oh, that is...
Yeah.
Because I see 1, 2...
This gear is just a secondary gear to spin your counter shaft for like first and reverse and stuff like that. So
Jaw 3RD said, "Do the Canada run yet? Certainly down for the build service, just need enough notice to help with the import convoy. In a perfect world, I'd get my Capri G pulled to send with the batch for my build." Rygar the Destroyer said, "How much longer do you think it will be before we get to see a video of you guys shifting through all the gears in the car?"
Okay, so 2 questions at once there, which is fine. First question. I'm guessing that was Shaw asking that question. We postponed the Canada trip. That way we could buy more. So we're not doing it this weekend, which is what we're going to do it. So it'll probably be mid-March. So tell me what weekend you're free in mid-March, and we'll make it happen. Hopefully we can bring down 6 transmissions. If there's 3 or 4 of us in the car,
yeah, we're kind of limited.
$800 a person.
Yeah.
Each trans is about $600. So, and we cannot spend more than $2,500. So 3 of us, 800. That's 24. So as long as we each 3 max out our 800, that's 2,400, and we can make it happen. We might have to make 2 runs though. And yes, if you have one pulled and ready by March, I can take it with me, and we can do this thing.
And whoever is in this will slam its gears.
Oh yeah.
You get that damage a lot on sports bikes and stuff from the gear packs. But yeah, they were.
Somebody was eaten.
But this one came out of a. Oh wait, this is
Fusion.
all of them. Is this the Fusion one? What's those?
5-speed.
Oh.
It was hell for me to find these parts. I could not keep.
Oh wait, this makes sense because they were trying to get in and out of gears without a clutch.
Oh yeah.
So that's what that was.
And Rygar, how much longer do you think the video of shooting through are? Well, because I am a jealous mistress, it won't be till late March in a Protege, and then probably like later this fall in a Festiva.
It could literally be next week if I wanted to.
Yes.
But I'm not going to do that to
Turbo
Will.
323 said, "You motivated me to have the first Fay 3 Turbo 6-speed 323 in South Africa."
Heck yeah, 323. Thank you, voice bot. Wait, I thought the Eddie 3 had the option for the H series already, but maybe not. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to see some other people do this now. And again, I'm not the first to do it. I'm the first to do it in a Festiva. Well, I guess depending if me and Steven do it at the same time, we are the first people to do it to a Festiva. But generally speaking, again, I have to give credit to Andrew Sutherland for showing me this was even possible with his post a long time ago, and then answering my questions when I asked. That being said, yes. So right now, Rygar, Steven could put this in his car like tomorrow and then actually shift it. But
I'm not going to do it the will. He did all the work. I'm not going to take the first person.
Yeah, we're trying to save it so that V2 is the first Festival with it done, and V2 is like, it's right next to us right now. You guys probably can't see it except for the corner of your eye. If I go back to overview scene.
Plus, I couldn't drive the car even if I did it anyways because I'm not going to drive it in the salt hellhole we have right here right now.
Yeah, it's been rough this season. There, you guys can see just the corner of V2 peeking out of the screen right there. The engine bay shading is actually going pretty good, by which I mean I've made no progress since you guys last saw it. It does look nice, though. I'm pretty proud of all the work into that. Over here, there it is. There's V2. You can just see a brake booster and flex fuel peeking out over there. But Vondo's half done, more than half done. I got a new big compressor so I can really get the fire rate on this thing. I'm very excited. Speaking of Festiva stuff, now that we got some more viewers, I'll give you another peek of what I was trying to show people on stream earlier. Check it out. You Festiva people know what this is. Yes, look at that in all its glory. That's right. The first pre-production samples of the clear tricycles are here, and they are freaking sick. And you'll know you have TheFestivaStore clears because they actually have a unique pattern. I'm thinking to avoid copyright claim from Ford and Mazda, but these have like the 3-stripe version of the reflector with the secondary flutes being vertical. So it's kind of like a combination of the USDM ones and Australian ones. Because the USDM ones have all checkered flutes, and foreign ones have all vertical flutes. This has a mix of both, which is pretty exciting. But these are in, and they look tight. I can't wait to put them on store. And they're probably going to be cheaper than the pre-ordered. So anybody that already pre-ordered these, you will probably be getting a refund for part of the cost because I was able to get these sourced even less from my supplier. I talked them to a better deal. So very excited for that. There's other cool things coming to the store that I want to talk about today and maybe preview a little bit, including the turbo manifold stuff. We are closer to production than I even thought possible. Steven knows about it. I don't know if I told Steven the news yet, though, but the person making these just texted me the other day and said the first 5 will probably be ready to ship to me in 2 weeks.
Damn.
From yesterday.
They work quick.
Yes. And they just sent me the STL of the most recent version this morning. I'm printing it right now.
That's wild that they're sending you the files.
Yeah, just a test print and make sure. They are also going to check to make sure the G20 GBC fits. That's the club line one. It's a internal bearing, but newer than the 2054R. So we're going to see if the G20 GBC 20 fits. We're going to make sure the 2054R fits. And somebody else asked if the GT 2560 fits. I don't have one on hand, but they said they might have one there. So he's gonna test those two. I'm gonna test the 2054R, and this new one has my logo on it and the hole for the O2 sensor. And it's been clearance to make room for even longer studs like I have in my engine. So it's gonna be sick.
Getting pretty legit up in here.
And last weekend, was it last weekend? I haven't streamed in a long time then. Last weekend, I was in Illinois parting out a Capri. Hang on, camera's all filthy again. That drives me crazy. I'm glad none of my viewers care about the audio and video as much as I do.
You know what drives me crazy?
What?
This.
Oh, yeah. Which one's yours?
We do this all the time.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't really matter.
I'm pretty sure the one that was further back
is yours. I think so, too. Maybe chat will tell us who's drinking who's Duke here in a minute.
We are both relatively disease-free.
Yes.
One has a pancreas that doesn't work, but that's not necessarily a disease.
Not necessarily spreadable.
Oh, I mean, are we sure?
They're pretty sure. So, I was in the car on the way to Illinois last weekend, and I called Steven out of nowhere and said, hey, can you go measure a Festiva drum for me because I'm in the middle of a car ride? And he did, and I sent the information back to a supplier of mine. Point being, the TheFestivaStore is going to have bolt-on 4x100 rear drums for Festivas. So no more Aspire stuff in the rear. You can go to the TheFestivaStore, you buy a drum, it's already drilled and flattened for 4x100. You just put it on your car and you're done. You can run stock wheel bolts or thread wheel studs, or remount the studs, remount the current holes and run like ARP press and studs, all the above. But it's a plug and play 4x100 drum, goes right onto your Festiva stock brakes. And in the front, for those of you who are like, all right, well, if you sell the rear, what the front end? I'm going to be selling bolt-on Kia Rio 2nd Gen knuckles. So it's going to be a brand new rotor, brand new caliper, brand new knuckle, brand new hub, studs, and brand new JDM OEM bearings from Japan. It's not going to be cheap for all that jazz, but I'm going to have them. We're going to have like 5 available to start out with, more coming after that if there's enough interest. And at least 5 bolt-on Festiva front knuckles. Not, they're still 414.3, so it's not a 100 swap. But for those of you who instead of wanting to rebuild knuckle, you want brand new, I'm getting brand new Festiva knuckles made. And I have the tools here, so I'm going to do the bearing selection procedure. They're going to have brand new JDM bearings or OEM and SK bearings. They'll be available as complete knuckles in the store coming later this summer. So a lot of cool products coming. So yeah, turbo manifold, the clear corners, the knuckles, the rear drums. What else is coming? When the clear corners get here, we're going to offer a full clear kit. You can buy clear turn signals, clear corner lights, and clear tail lights in one big bundle for cheap, as in like a discount, not $20, but a good discount.
RD said, badass. What's the time frame and cost estimate on the drum? Was going to have a local machine shop punch a fresh set of drums.
It should be less than your machine shop's going to charge, and they should be here in the middle of summer, maybe late summer. So they're actually, my supplier is making me brand new molds from the ground up to do this, which is pretty crazy. So like brand new cast iron molds, and then they're going to machine them to the specs I want. Then they're going to mail them to me, but it has to be by sea shipment because drums are heavy, and the shipping is going to cost me a bunch to ship them here after they're made. So it'll be like an extra 45 days after they get made, and the molds are being produced as we speak. Because I gave them the final measurements on Tuesday, thanks to the measurements Steven gave me on Saturday.
One of these days. Dude, they just all blend together anymore.
It's coming sooner rather than later, put it that way. What else is coming? I almost forgot about. Oh, yes, the crank sensor kits. The crank sensor kits are done and restocked, by the way. So anybody wanting to run an aftermarket ECU on your dual overhead cam G-Series swap front-wheel drive car, the crank sensor kit is here. That includes tone rings, some to read, the sensor, the drill guide, all of that. It's in the kit now. You can buy that right now. And then for those of you who want to have sequential ignition and injection, we are getting very fancy cam sensors CNC'd right now. They're halfway done. They're going to finish them up early next week, and then they're going to ship them to me. I'm going to laser etch them. They're going to be individually numbered. The first run of 20, I guess actually since I'm taking 2 of them, there's only going to be 18 available. They're going to be individually numbered, so you have the chance of getting number 2 to number 20 lasered on there in a unique color that only the first 20 are going to be made in. They have OEM sensors. It's going to have a drill guide. It's going to be sick. They look fantastic. I've posted some pictures to a couple pages. I can pull up a picture on the chat later for those that want to see it, but it's badass. I spent like 2 years designing this. I hit like 3 roadblocks, and then Steven said, you should put it at an angle. I was like, Steven, you're brilliant. And that's what we did. And we tested it. There's a video on Facebook of us testing it with an oscilloscope, and the waveform was perfect, like actually fantastic. I'm very excited. So is Steven. He's just busy. So I do have all the gears then. Because it looks we're still missing one. But I guess the gap's just so big on the 60.
Turbo 323 said, H-Series was never available in any cars locally.
Yeah, it was also barely available in the US, so that makes sense. I think we only got the H-Series as a 5-speed on the Pro F2T.
Yeah.
/626 F2T. Here, there's one that's not broken.
Oh no, we're good. I figured out what I was doing wrong. It's just now getting it actually back together.
Wow, yeah, the gap just looks bigger here for some reason. But I guess it really isn't that much bigger. No, okay, no, it's definitely bigger. Yeah, so that's part of the reverse then for 5th, right?
Mm-hmm. Reverse for 6th is on the selector itself.
It's wild. Yeah, because like that's why it looks so funny to me, because like we're missing that entire section. It's still there. You can see on the shaft even there's a machine mark. Looks like where that would have been that cast bit of gear.
Which that would mean that would have to be a later 5-speed.
Oh, this is a G6.
Oh, it's on the counter shaft. The selector.
Yeah, this is the one for V2. I just wanted to compare it since you were working on that one. But yeah, it's funny that the casting still has like a ghost line where that used to be. All right.
You know, I've been in manufacturing for like a decade now. I just gotta get my mind in the mindset of how they assemble this in the factory to figure out how the hell it actually goes back together.
They probably had at least something to hold on to it. Oh, another tool came in as well. You can take some of these home, by the way. Some of these are for you. We're talking about how the E series stuff is so much tinier than the G series stuff. So half the tools I have won't work. There it is. That's the torque tube for the E, the bearing cone replacer, and then the other bearing cone replacer. And this one is for the shaft side. It's double-sided, so it fits both those weird smaller sizes. Then this one for the diff, which is, it's so funny looking at the G series one and seeing the E series one for the E series diff bearing. It's absolutely adorable. And another one of these that I don't need because it only fits. They must have made an update for the 90 plus ECUs, but I can't find it because all the ones that come in the kits are 3-plug. So I have no idea how to use that. Not that it matters. I don't have this side of the tool. But. And then there's one other tool that we didn't have while we were in ATALX. It doesn't come in the case, but weirdly enough, that aluminum.
Can you grab me that last bit?
Yep. The bead maker thingy came in a kit or case for some reason, in case you really want to keep your $30 bead tool safe. So put the extras in here. So now we also have this one for, I think this is for the weird one in the case. I think this is what you can use to push this out with. Then the other one for that funky size bearing that we borrowed Nate's tool for, and an F series torque tube. Now I have a case for those. So we should be able to. For anybody else watching this, if you want us to rebuild your E series or your F series, we do that too. Now we have the tools for that, along the OEM stuff. I don't have all the shims yet, but I believe I can still get them.
If you can't, I've been kind of thinking about just making some.
Yeah?
Get some time on their grinder at work.
That'd be pretty good. You could probably make wheel bearing shims at work then, yeah?
That I would probably want to just buy my own grinder, honestly. Also, I think I finally figured this out.
Well, I definitely probably need some made for these new knuckles that we're getting in. Oh, let's see if this tablet's good yet. We might have to jailbreak the tablet. This is the one, this is my grandma's old tablet. I'm going to leave it upstairs to control the printer with. I wanted to use Michelle's cheap / free tablet she got from work for her health thing, but I heard they're actually locked down.
Yeah, that one surprised me.
Yeah, when you boot it up, it actually has the Hinge Health like boot screen.
Oh, that's just a boot JPEG you can change.
Right, but that means they've been in there at least.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, this one doesn't seem too locked down.
Finally.
TheFestivaStore. You're offline.
This is not the gear for this. This might be. It's more this, or this isn't the right. Dude, that's gross. I get some towels and wipe that off. There's like actually
fresh ones.
You know, it makes sense for there to be water in it. You know, we did kind of ultrasonic clean it.
Very true.
Oh wait, it might be easy to figure out what gear it is because they would have the tabs in it.
That one.
Yep. And look, it fits on there. I still want to clean it off. It's gross.
Yeah.
Last thing we need is for your, brand new KL would be great. Then we grenade the transmission because we didn't clean it. Also, I was thinking about just trying to find a brand new OEM pump, but they're kind of expensive. Like, wildly expensive compared to B series pumps.
Hang on, I can't hear crap with this heater.
I was looking for a brand new OEM KL pump, but they're like wildly expensive compared to B series OEM pumps.
Yeah, I might buy the boundary one. I know it's a lot, but
well, you're not even buying the boundary one. You're buying the service for them. You send yours in for them to change it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I thought that came with the case.
No, that's you sending your case in. And they put their gears in it.
It's on the shelf thing, but let me open Play Store. Maybe it's not locked down.
Is their gear set
I
bigger?
also found this on that tub. Well, I said Nate had some. I guess I was remembering my own doorway, but now I have some.
So, are their gears bigger for more flow, or is it just like more hardened steel? Because if you're not getting more flow, I would not waste the money on it.
I think they're for more flow. I'd have to double check that.
Said, is there any concern for the transmission being any weaker with the conversion?
Oh, ho, ho, quite the opposite. I'll let you tell him, because I got this going on. It's starting to talk crazy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Although I guess you also have dental work going on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Still have like a little, plug in there.
Yeah.
There's multiple reasons why the conversion should be stronger. It's not tested yet, because, as you can see, but the G6, I don't have a bearing to show. And this one doesn't have bearings on it.
Here, I'll clean that off.
This one has bearings. I can still.
Yeah.
So, this is the standard G5 shaft, and
I'll go overhead. You can
I don't.
here.
I'm assuming the camera was right there.
Yeah, I got one right here. They probably see better.
I'll let you aim it.
Oh, I forgot. It's on the.
Sorry,
Sorry,
motion
chat.
sickness.
Oh God, yeah.
I'll just keep explaining. They can get the visual in a minute.
I'll be your Dana White,
Nice.
or not your Dana White. Your I can't remember her name now. The Jeopardy lady.
No.
She just shows off the. Anyway.
So on your standard G5 shaft, you only have 2 bearings for each shaft, one in each end of it. A lot of the biggest issue, there's 2 main issues when you add too much power to a G series transmission. You either get case flex, shaft, well I guess 3, shaft flex, or you break your diff pin. The diff pin doesn't usually break unless you have a shock load, so unless you're drag racing, dump the clutch a lot. For the case flex, most of the time when it flexes, you're going to shear 3rd gear, because that's the gear you had your most power through. It's center stack, so you get the most amount of deviation.
So you can imagine where your bearings are. It's pinned here and here. So these 2 spots really can't move very much. Your case would flex a lot for those to move. However, if you make a ton of power, you can imagine this whole shaft wanting to bend outwards. In the middle there is where it's going to bend the most. And way out here in the tip, where it's not supported, it's going to want to bend. The input shaft could bend, but that's where it's connected to your engine. So it's not super likely to bend here.
I guess it does technically have 3 bearings in the shaft, because you got the pilot bearing too. Anyways, just because it's metal doesn't mean it doesn't flex. It actually flexes a lot. It's just, you can't see it with your eyes. And these being helical cut gears, they naturally want to flex. It's not great for power, but it's great for comfort, which is why they did it, because they're a lot quieter than straight cut gears, which are stronger. However, with the G6, you get a 3rd bearing in the stack. You might think that, that bearing at the end is not going to help with your 3rd gear because it's not in between, the first 2 bearings. But the way physics work, adding an extra... You're better at explaining physics than I would be.
Yeah, so if you imagine this whole thing wanting to bend a certain amount, you're now spreading that bend over 3 points of contact. So however much it was going to bend here, you now have the chance for it to instead want to bend this over a bit. So where you would have a big U shape before, now you have a pin on that spline, more of an S shape. And from that S shape, it's still flexing here, but now it's spread out on top. So it's going to flex here 1/3 as much, since this is 2/3 the distance. So you have less flex here. And if your case is all flexy, if you actually look at the Mazda documentation for the B6T, the reason they go to cast aluminum pans on their higher horsepower engines is to brace the connection from your block to your transmission to the internals. So it acts as like a main bearing support plate, the oil pan itself, just because it's cast aluminum. So you look at a G series, a G6, you'll notice, and actually I got a brand new part from Mazda to show off for this little section of the thing. I need one from over here.
I need some oil.
This is the flimsy piece of crap you'll find on the end of your G series right now. This little piece of steel. All it's doing is letting oil splash around a bit and keeping your gears from getting dusty. It's just a cover plate. Meanwhile, the G6, you get this beast. This is a cast aluminum, quarter-inch thick beast that holds those bearings in. So those new bearings we just talked about, this actually retains those bearings and stiffens the entire case up, being a giant chunk of cast aluminum. So putting this on your end cap is now acting like an end cap brace, to the point where if you look, there's like companies that sell, like Hydra and Exile, they actually have a piece for this end cap where you're supposed to machine this off, replace it with a thicker version to help reinforce everything. This is doing that basically from the Mazda factory. A big reinforcing end cap goes on here, makes everything there a lot stiffer, and supports those extra bearings, while also providing the extra oiling through the little channel inside. So that's super awesome. So all of that should give you a much stronger case. And as we found out the hard way, everything, all the gears in here are ultra case hardened.
I was about to get into that point. Like for every big G, it should be an upgrade in every way. For a small G, to make the countershaft fit, you have to grind it a little bit. That would be getting rid of some of the case hardening, so hypothetically that would weaken that point. But the point it's at shouldn't matter as much, given it's at the very end of the shaft and it's not going to see as much torque as it would be if, say it was in the middle of the shaft. So it shouldn't be a problem, but we don't have the data yet to know if it's a problem.
But it's definitely stronger. All these pieces combined are going to make this way stronger than it's ever been before.
And me and Will's going to be the best beta testers, so we'll beat the crap out of our cars.
Yeah, these are not going to be driven gently.
And with me putting all the time and effort into getting the G6 in my car, I'm going to take advantage of the 2554. It's going aftermarket ECU now. I'm probably going to... I don't even know how much power I want. I'm going to say at least 250. Probably try, be about the same as yours. Because 200 was fun as hell. I just didn't have tires to get anything past, third.
Yeah.
After third gear, it finally gripped.
And now you should have the option for better tires, because I just imported some. And they're sitting upstairs waiting to be used. I put the 15s on this one.
We're getting some fast cars.
It's going to be nuts.
We're about to get some felonies.
The Miata is not that fast, and I already drive it 55 everywhere.
Well, here in Kentucky, anything past 15 miles per hour over the speed limit is technically a felony, because it's reckless driving.
Thankfully, I've not used my one free jail card yet, so...
Oh, no, you can keep using those. You just can't get them consecutively. You're talking about the course I did? Yeah, as long as you're not, every single year getting one, you can take it again. It's not
every 2 years?
Yeah, it's not a one-and-done thing. It's at their discretion. If your history's pretty good, they don't care.
Mine's squeaky.
Yeah, so you'll
somehow.
You'll definitely get the first go.
Said. 5th gear county jail, 6th gear state prison, as they say.
Yes, and as you saw from our VMAX calculator, that rings pretty true, because you're looking at 123 and 160. But that's with Festiva size tires. In the Protege, it's 135, 170. Well, I guess maybe not with the 4.38.
Yeah.
But that's the math for me to do later. But math, I am interested.
I almost wonder how much cheaper it would have been if I would have just taken the ticket. Because I ended up spending $400 between schooling and fees.
Yeah, you had to pay double.
My ticket was only $170 something, I think.
Yeah, I'll take that last
323 said. Soon you guys can make my 323 GT a 6-speed.
Yes!
As long as it's not a GTX.
Yeah, 323 GT conversion, you got it. It's not going to be cheap because it's a lot of extra work for a 323 GT, but we can do it. We've done it, actually. We've done the exact thing. That's the one, basically the one we built on the last stream, the one that you saw Stephen take home. That is that. That's a cable G series for a 323 GT / Mercury Capri ready to bolt in.
Is the 323 wide enough you could just use 28 spline axles? Because that was our kind of issue. They're too long.
Not really, because it's the same axle as Capri.
Oh.
And we use Capri axles.
Well, then again, they're kind of big for us in terms of length.
They are.
So maybe they could get away with something just a little bit longer.
Potentially, and then you're also doing a hydro conversion, because they're still cable.
Oh, yeah.
They want to keep their trans for the same reason we want to keep their trans.
But on an update for that, you did have a possible person that would modify the shafts for you for the small G.
Yes, we do. So we can do it. It's official. I can do it, and I can complete it. And I'm getting custom bolts made. Those are all go. They'll be ready in about 2 weeks, and we can have the shaft machine now. So those both 5-speed. Yes. Yep.
Yep. Oh, I need oil that I can put this back together.
All right. I need a little squeeze ball that Nate had. Oh, actually, yes, I have. I've got MTF and a squeeze bottle. Considering that's what's going in it, I'd say we're good to go.
Oh, did you ever look up what the M5 and stuff actually use?
Could not find it.
Really?
I think my car still has user manual in it though, so I want to read what it says. Oh, that reminds me. I don't know where I put the clutch kit for it.
Yeah, I heard you say this.
323 said, "Awesome. How do I contact you?"
Great question. If you look at the description for this video, it should have links for places you can contact me. Easiest way, best way is Facebook Messenger. You can message me personally. I actually have a messenger link. It's m.me/Will Samet. Or you can message my business page on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Samet Industries, the same name as the channel. You can message me there for my business account. I can send you my temporary price list. You can send me a message on WhatsApp. I think if you go to my business Facebook page, facebook.com/Samet Industries, somewhere on there, I have a WhatsApp button. You didn't ask.
Well, I did say
so
I
WhatsApp's
didn't say I
another spot.
ask.
And actually, while Steven sticks his lube all over my shaft, I will pull up the price list real quick. This is subject to change, but I did the math, and I'm pretty sure this is how the prices are going to work out for the most part.
So pretty much get in early before the prices change.
Yeah, basically, the prices can only go up as these transmissions get harder and harder to find. All right, Meta Business Suite.
Like, I'm a cheap ass, and I still think that the prices are pretty low for all. Well, I guess I've done the work now, so
Yes,
I kind of.
and it's a lot of work. I'm pricing my labor pretty cheap because I want more of these to happen. I want the community to have access to this stuff.
Awesome stream, by the way.
Thank you.
Enjoying the thorough answers.
Yes, I'm here to help. I mean, some of the stuff is not like hidden. Like eventually, I'll be doing a guide video so people can try this at home. But at the end of the day, this is not easy to do at home, especially for a 323 or a Capri. There's so much machine work involved. And even for the big transmissions, you really have to have the special tools, like I just showed you guys, the bearing selection tools. You have to have the bearings on hand. You have to have the shims on hand. You have to have 3 specialty toolkits. It's a lot to have.
I hate to ask, but do we have any synchros? These are pretty roached.
Are they?
Oh yeah. Because I know our G6 bits, especially synchros, are kind of lacking. But these are. I wouldn't feel good about putting these back in.
All right. Yeah, hang on. I've only got the one set. I don't know what set it is. I don't have any double cones yet.
Well, these are double cones, so.
So no, I don't have those.
Do we have another G6 stack we could just steal them from?
The one for V2.
I mean, do you want possible bad? Like, these are probably worse than single cone at this point. They're pretty bad.
That's when they drive don't clutch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do that. 1 second.
Like, they're impressively bad.
Okay, so here you go. This is my Facebook page. So if you go to facebook.com/Samet Industries, as you can see up here at the top. There's my page. You can message me on here. So right here is a button. You can message me on WhatsApp. Wow, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's literally
And you can message me on Facebook. Either of those options are totally fine. And here is the basic pricing list for now. So this top section is what's required. You're required to get a donor 6-speed. I source that for you. All you do is pay me $750, and I go get it. You have to pay the labor for the conversion of $500. You have to provide me with your G series. You can have bad gears, like third gear can be stripped out, stuff like that. But the case needs to be good, and the shifter mechanism internally needs to be good. You have to bring that to me, ship it to me, or whatever.
Well, if it's a small G, your differential has to be good too.
Yes, I need your diff. So I need the shifting mechanism, I need the case, I need your differential.
For the large G, the diff doesn't matter as much. The disk should just swap right over.
It's still one is still thicker though. The 4.388 is thinner.
Well, yeah, but that comes. You're gonna use the ring gear from the G6. It just.
No, if I don't have to, I don't want to.
Oh, yeah, I guess you don't have to. They're not gonna break the ring gear though.
No, it's just more work to make it thinner and put new bolts in it.
Yeah.
For 28 spine guys, that's why it's so nice to use that diff because it just drops in. So in here you can see the Star Festiva Capri 3 GT requires an extra $700 on top of this amount because of how much machine work he's done. But sorry is how it goes. And then we have options. So if you want brand new OEM bearings, this is parts and labor included. That's $580. New OEM synchros, $590. That's on top of bearings because you have to do bearings to do synchros. I can clean your case for $150, or if it's really gross, it's going to cost more. Diff ratio changes, so if you currently have a 4.105, you want to change to a 4.388, I can do that for an extra $360. If you are already paying for the Festiva/Capri/223 GT option, you don't have to pay this because we already have to do diff ratio change anyway. So this is included in that price. And then I can customize your 5th and 6th ratios from a list of options depending on A, how much you want to spend, and B, what I have on hand / how long you're going to wait.
Said, it would be awesome if you guys did something for GTXS2. I have both BPT swapped.
Well, the problem with those is the transmissions are completely different. They're still technically Gs, but
the way the diff works in those to make the rear-wheel drive, make the all-wheel drive work,
just wildly
it's
different.
Kind of complex. I don't think it's physically possible for us to put a 4.105 ratio.
I think the ring gear is
6-speed
physically
stuff.
different.
Right. I don't think we can. I don't think we can physically 6-speed swap one.
Unless they happen to have... Is there any G6s with the same ring gear ratio as the GTX? GTX might not be the same as a small G.
Yeah, I guess if GTX is 4.105, I didn't add it to the chart because my chart is specifically Mazda front-wheel drive.
Well, GTX transmissions are so rare to get our hands on to even play with that we don't want to open up and break them.
Right.
Like I know of one that we might be able to use, and that's a.
And I think the GTR one is better, and it might be 4.105 for GTR. But generally speaking, no all-wheel drive stuff right now. Maybe someday.
If we can get one to play with, maybe.
I did add the Ford Escape one in there. Did you see the ratios for that
They're
thing?
so bad.
Hang on,
like the final drive is just hellacious.
It's insane, and I think 5th on that thing is a new record for highest one I've seen.
It's like 0.8 or something, right? I remember looking into it.
It's the same as the MX-3 K8. The K8 and the Escape both use a .837 5th.
For the K8, it kind of makes sense because they're high revving.
But it's awful. The K8 also has a final of 4.388.
Well, the K8 came in a MX-3s? They're kind of a sportsy-ish car anyways.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the Fusion transmission and the K8 transmission are virtually identical. The Fusion transmission is actually a +1 upgrade for K8 people. I keep saying this is not a 5+1. It's a
well, when your transmission is so bad, it's literally a +1.
The Fusion 5th is .837. The K8 5th is .837. And they're both 4.388 diffs. So the Fusion is literally just adding the JDM 5th gear on top of the 5-speed.
For the super rare K8 MX-3, this is actually a +1 upgrade.
This is literally a 5+1. That's so funny.
But yeah, I don't want to put this back together with those synchros. They are terrible.
All right, yeah. So
which means we got to press off the center bit wedge, which I just put back together, by the way.
Yay.
Or we can just hope that this synchro's not bone too.
I mean, seeing the status of everything else and knowing they try to drive with no clutch for a month.
323 said, I'm talking about GTR trannies, which I have. I would be willing to ship it to experiment on. I'll reach out about all this.
Reach out to me. We can definitely do the GT one for those prices I showed you earlier. For the GTR one, just make a note of it. I'll look into it. I'll check the parts diagrams and see what I'm really working with the diff, and that will give me a better idea if it's possible. Don't hold out your hopes. I'm guessing it's not possible, but I will look into it.
I personally wouldn't mind having my hands in one, especially if there's no downside for me messing it up possibly.
Yeah, it's nice to look at.
Just because how rare they are, actually being able to fiddle with one.
All right. Since Mazda has confirmed availability for every Synchro but one,
I almost wonder would the G6 middle housing just fit the GTX? It's already cable.
Is GTR one cable? I think
Yeah, it's cable
GTR and
shift.
GTX are both cable shift. That's a good question.
That might almost be a more direct swap than.
Now I really want to find the manual all-wheel drive Fusion transmission, but I think most of them are behind the V6. I don't know if you could order a manual.
Are those still G series though?
I don't know, because Ford uses very funky numbers for them.
Finding a manual Fusion is so hard because the take rate was so small in them. Finding an all-wheel drive manual one is going to be literally almost impossible.
I found one for sale on a forum. They wanted $12K for it to make it.
They know what they have, literally.
Because like we keep finding the 6-speed stuff in the Sport, which is like a baser trim.
At least
all-wheel drive was on the premium trim.
At least I know how this goes back together now.
Well, glad somebody does, because I don't. Don't lose those little things, because I should see what the part numbers for those and order some spares.
I'm pretty sure they're the same on the 5 speeds.
Is it?
I'm almost certain.
Well, here, let's find out real quick. Both by searching the part number and by getting you one.
The next question is how.
323 said, both cable shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the GTX/R was cable.
Yeah, because I remember looking into getting shift bushings for them, realizing it's hard to press those out. What is that?
This is the 5th gear.
Okay.
Carbon. So this goes in here.
All right. I don't want to mix parts.
Actually,
how about the tear a lot of
well, that one's easy. You know, it's literally the only carbon synchro on all of these.
Oh, we gotta pull bearings off.
Well, those ones are pretty easy to get off.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I still have those metal things.
The hard,
they're the same.
Well, actually, at the 5-speed, the center housing's the same. I'd rather use that too.
Okay.
Because luckily, they didn't mess the gears up too bad. The teeth on the gears still look okay.
I did mention on the stream earlier that there's so much extra stuff we want to look at while we're in here, and people are asking good questions that we might not end up assembling this tonight. This might be a tomorrow assembly, and tonight's more of an experimentation phase. So right now, it's proven to be true.
Protege guys used to use a Toyota transmission with an adapter plate to do op. Have you looked into that?
Oh, I assume you're talking to the guy who was just asking questions, because I have not and will not be looking into all-wheel drive conversion stuff.
All-wheel drives for Festivas don't really make sense. Like, they work best as a front-wheel drive platform, so we don't really mess with all-wheel drive too much.
And I think Dustin has a 323 that would be a good candidate to do an all-wheel drive swap, too.
I do still want to make an all-wheel drive Festiva just for, the hell of it.
Disgusting.
I didn't say it's going to be good. Like, performance-wise, it's definitely a decrease.
Well, we still got a lot of things to do that will bring good to the world, Steven, before you do more things for the hell of it.
That's just one of those, bucket list type of things.
You're doing the bucket list right now, brother. World's first times like 4 right now.
To be fair, this is mostly your bucket list. I didn't even know this existed till you mentioned it.
Well, I didn't either.
Mine is very, very rusty, but Canadian.
I mean, makes sense on both counts. What was I doing? Oh, I was trying to get you some space to play.
Oh, I got plenty of space here. I just need this off. I don't know how it comes off. Well, I know how it comes off. It gets pressed off.
Right. So,
I don't know how tight of a press it is and what we can use.
So vice, bearing puller, and
I can't be kind of worried because this gear is kind of thin along this edge. We can hit
right,
up
let's
here.
see what the manual says to do.
The manual says to use some non-existent tool.
No, I'll use these tools on press. And also, the tool it says I probably have. If it doesn't, I'll go buy it. Because if we're offering the service to change synchros, I better know how to change synchros.
Oh, changing them is easy. Getting a part's the hard part.
That's part of changing them.
Nah.
That's why there's a labor charge. Transactional manual.
Said, if talking about the VG chassis, the guys down in PR still make those adapters, I thought.
You can still get the Toyota adapters in the States, I thought.
I don't know who's still making them now or not.
If not, I'm sure you can just find the file and have them laser cut.
I think Joe's got a file.
I'm not sure if Joe would just give it out. He'd probably sell it. Joe has a file for a bunch of them. But he's
been making a bunch of them.
I don't think he's tested many of them yet.
That looks like the output shaft. But yeah, so far, bearing puller. Oh, yeah, we don't have the D80Ls.
With the bars?
No, the shaft protectors. Just little end caps don't damage the threads.
Oh yeah, there's a bearing puller. Wild. That must not be that type of press fit then. So we'll just put a bearing puller around and tap the shaft.
Well, that's the output side. Let's see if the input side is different.
Well, you can't take the input side apart. That's part of the gear.
Try to take this off though, right?
That was this. They're taking off in one unit. It looked like
that was the output shaft. But here it is already disassembled, so we must have missed something because they're doing the run out now.
The one that the same page that took the bearing off, they took this entire piece with this on it off.
I thought this was the output shaft in the picture.
Is that not this?
Hang on, I just don't. They call it main shaft. Yeah, main shaft, not input. There's the input shaft.
That's the output shaft. That's the gear for the ring gear.
That's what I'm saying. So they're calling that main shaft. And right here, they say main shaft. So that must be the output side. But
Either way,
there's the input side. That's the bearing being pulled. No, don't let it fall. Okay, thank you.
So this is probably the other half of that shaft.
No, that's main. We're looking for input.
Well, either way, they're pulling that exact same piece off just on a different shaft. It has to be pulled off the same way. Like, it'd be weird for them to change the way. You can keep browsing through if you want. But it seems like they breezed over it, so they probably meant for it to be changed the same way.
Main shaft run out. Disassembly. Clutch hub. Keyways.
I could have used that picture a little bit ago.
Well, you should read more.
Your reading sucks.
No, it doesn't. Reading's sick. This is a sick piece of kit right here.
This is a picture book. I can do it with picture books.
Assembly. Press it with the... Alright, I guess we gotta pay $100 to get those shaft records. But I'm gonna do this as a...
Dude, just get a freaking cap. Like, you could 3D print one.
I don't think they're plastic, are they?
I would be shocked if they're metal.
All the other DADL 623s I was looking at
Because you're not pressing on it. I don't think, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, it needs to be metal. I could probably make you some work.
DADL 633. So the 630-3 was that step plate we needed. 625-3 is the other doodle-dad. No, Google.
So I just need your bearing puller kit then.
Yep, and it's right there.
Let's dig in, and then it should just come apart with a couple taps from a hammer, which I already also
625-3.
I'm assuming they're using the flat side for this.
Oh no. I have to buy the whole set.
I mean, you bought every other transmission-related tool.
Yeah, but those were on eBay. These aren't.
Oh, is that like Mazda Direct or something?
This is a company that only sells like tools like this, and they charge MSRP.
So they want.
Oh, and they're out of stock.
So sounds like we just need to make some.
So you go, set of 5.
Said. Since you're so into transmission fixes now, do you want the one I swapped out of this white car back?
Yeah, sure. We can do more cores. Actually, I do need a half of an E-Series to complete my other half of an E-Series. We can also rebuild them now if you want to rebuild one as a spare.
Also, if you're watching, don't do this. Like a hardened hammer on a hardened shaft.
Where's our tip protector?
Good question. I kind of got a good feel for it. So, like, if you hit too hard, you will chip it. I'd like to say I'm in tool and die so I know what I'm doing, but I'm literally an apprentice, so it doesn't work. Look at that. That's your entire bare shaft.
Sick.
That right there, we should probably grab some memory cloth and polish. That is where my gear seized.
Oh.
Said. Use a 2x4.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Probably, but since it is a press fit, you want more of a shock load. for it to come apart a little easier. But the 2x4 you have to hit significantly harder.
What are the odds a random D80L auto service kit would have the sizes I need?
Considering they mix and match their tools all the... That got hot as hell, whatever that was. That could just be the surface grinding when they did the brown didn't get all the way past the hardening.
This Fusion has seen some stuff.
Well, considering we knew exactly... Actually, funny enough, she could be watching the thing since she gave her the link.
That'd be fun.
Considering how they were driving it, this car had a broken clutch that we got this from. So they were just shoving it in between gears. Like, you can't see it in the picture, but this Synchro's pretty much melted. Like, they were getting at it. Actually, yeah, I think it is kind of melted.
Wow.
That should be sharp ridges.
Right, it's folded over.
Like, this one's still not very sharp. That's the outside edge. But the inside one just gets it. Hopefully the third, fourth, or this is my first second being at the end of that new shaft. Hopefully it's a little bit better, but since we already have it apart, we're going to replace them anyhow. Oh! Nice. First second is carbon. Or first is carbon. Which actually doesn't look as bad as second gear. Which makes sense being carbon, but I would still replace it. Well, it's up to you. It's your car.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, look. OTC 6P shaft picker for $40.
That looks relatively fine to my eye.
Yeah.
But since I already have it apart, do you want to just swap it and then you source just new Synchros for your car?
Yeah, I've got 3 sets of new Synchros on the way. 1 or 2 for my personal use and 1 for a customer already coming.
Actually, it would make sense if this is second gear. Because second gear, I feel like second would need a carbon Synchro more because that's the hardest shift in a G series.
Yeah, because you're taking off slower between first. Yeah, look.
Well, you should be
the whole kit.
You should be
OTC
completely
for-
stopped when you put it in first, anyways.
Plus bonus piece. There's something in the Ziploc bag that says a bonus piece. I guess they don't know what it needs to do.
So we've got what, like 8 people that might have a G series in their car watching. Does
Yes.
anybody else have trouble power shifting in the second? Like, it's just a G series thing, right? Because everyone I've talked to has always had second gear issues trying to get it in the second.
Free local pickup in Hastings, Minnesota.
Like,
Go ahead and ship it, actually. Thank you.
Like, even trying to, well, you can't really rev match it and power shift at the same time because you up in RPM, so there's no rev matching. That's more of a downshift thing, anyways. But yeah, second gear is always a pain in the ass to get into when you're really trying to make some power. Third, fourth, fifth, no problem.
What do they call that other thing I don't have?
So it does appear the second gear might have a double cone carbon synchro, which, if this is second, that would make second so much better in the G6. It dyed the steel. It's just black now. Like, it's not burnt.
That's crazy.
Like, it is rubbing off, kind of. But yeah.
That's sick. Adapter, step plate adapter. All right, so can I get an OTC step plate adapter set?
Dude, a double cone carbon has to just grip hard as hell. Like, that shift's gonna
That's
be...
like a guaranteed shift. Even them beating on it,
that's
still
actually still gripping pretty nicely. So yeah, this thing is gonna have very nice shifts. Not with these Synchros, but I lost the other one. Where's the outside one? Oh no. Oh, there it is.
Oh my.
Huh?
The prices of these vary wildly depending on how many you want. I don't know the size I need. Oh, we can measure, right? Please give me an inch measurement for the step plate adapter we want to put a bearing on differential.
On a differential?
Yeah, the little thing you guys were trying to say the other day, the center of your gear puller.
You want it to actually fit inside the differential, or just on the edge?
Yes, I think it's supposed to fit inside.
Fit inside and have a step that goes over the
So
edge.
you get a 5-piece kit for $40, 11-piece kit for $150, 6-piece for $120, 11-piece for $236.
You know what easy a part like that would be to make?
Yeah, I know, but I don't
And
have.
I could literally harden it at work too.
Yeah, but you've not been on the lathe yet, have you?
Not yet, but that gives
No.
me an excuse too. I need a differential now. I'll look at differential. It's going to be different between big and small G.
Is it really?
Small G has another step. Smaller axles.
But the outside's the only one that matters. get the. I need the ID. I think.
You need both. Because it's got to sit on this lip and then go in the center.
But it's a standard size bearing, right? Hang on, this one. I guess this one has both.
Yeah, but
What's our inside then in inches?
it looks like just about a little bit over 1.25. 1.258. Hey, look, 1.25. This is big G, isn't it?
Yes.
So it wouldn't necessarily work. How deep is that step?
Not very.
Okay, because the step is about the same in both. It's just it doesn't get thicker until further down in the hole for small G. So
That's a huge one.
So that might still work. Yeah, we'll definitely have to take some emery cloth or something to that. Just clean it up a little bit. What's annoying
I
about
think
this?
all I have is sandpaper.
What's annoying about this one? That one's directly on the shaft, so it's a non-replaceable bearing surface. I know how these have. It's not terrible. I've seen worse, but it is grabbing my rag, so we will have to polish it up a little bit.
What about the green thingies?
They might.
Let's try that. I think it's the only thing I have. It's not the actual sandpaper. I have emery cloth.
Sandpaper work? You got 1000 grit?
I do, but it's just sandpaper leaves behind bits, while emery cloth is supposed to leave behind less.
Well, this is the hollow shaft, so we can blow it out.
Yeah. Here, give it a hit of 4 and see what that does. Or, I guess, yeah, you got 15. 15 might do enough.
Don't zoom in and me playing with my shaft. It ain't that kind of video.
It is now.
It's all in that hand motion. That helped a bit, but it's still.
You can still see the marring. It's crazy. It's polished over the marring, except for the marring.
It might be fine if that's below, deck surface.
It's got to be now.
I mean, I'm taking off like microns with that. It's a hardened shaft, if anything. We can just flip the gear. Get to the good side.
Yeah, that'd be a good time to use the rebuild. Inside surface.
I guess the good thing is you're not going to be driving the Protege nowhere near as hard as you would be driving the Festiva.
Yeah, especially knowing that next time I drive the hard both KL.
I'm pretty confident in my abilities to rebuild your engine this time that, it's going to be good.
I don't think it was necessarily completely our fault. I think a lot of it's just the KL likes to explode.
Technically, that KL was... Your first one had a lot of unknowns because the previous owner said that it's been, rebuilt.
Right.
We don't know who did it or what they used. Because the KL takes a lot of kind of specific, instructions to rebuild it. The second one was a known good one. I can't see my fingers in the camera. It came out of a running car, but I know Tony didn't have that car for very long because he bought the car to just take the motor out of it. So it could have been bad for all we know.
Right.
Are we only up to 2? No third yet?
Just 2 KLs. 3 engines, 2 KLs.
Okay.
Because I also blew up the FS.
Yeah, so I think we're good then. That feels a little grody. But that might just be this.
What gear is that? Second?
Yeah. I think. I can double check real quick. Yep, it's smaller.
Alright, well, it's not be a second.
Actually, you want to be in second. In second gear, this isn't rotating counter to the shaft.
So do second gear pulls.
Second gear pull in the KL is going to be fun.
Yes, it will.
So I don't think I've told anybody about your KL build besides like Michelle and stuff. I didn't share any pictures anywhere. So his KL, I really wish I could have found some high compression pistons, but I couldn't find anything besides like some, $400 old KLZ crusty ass pistons with a lot of, pinging. So his KL is going to be relatively stock bottom end, but it's getting some nice spicy cams from Colt Cams in Canada. Like, I think he really enjoys doing KL stuff. Like, he's still making new grinds for KLs, which is wild.
Is he really?
Yeah. Right now he's doing an experimental one that you need to have solid lifters for.
Aggressive.
Yeah. So he's actually a really cool guy. I got to talk to him for a while on the phone a couple times actually. But yeah, he's a really cool guy. So what was the power figure you wanted? I try to shoot for the power figure based off specs.
The KL?
Yeah.
Like, closer to 200 would be nice.
Yeah.
KLZ is 200-ish.
Yeah, I think we're shooting for that because we wanted to try to match my car. At least power to weight, Subaru.
Yeah. And
So
I think KLDE stock is 160 to 170. KLZE is cams and piston, a different ECU for 200.
So at this point, me and Will are both going to have 6-speed V6 or H6 swapped wagons.
Both of which did not come, at least in
Either of those
America,
options.
with a 6-cylinder engine or a 6-speed transmission. So it should be sick. I need to get this bearing off, and we need to get these bearings off, right? Because you want these bits.
At least the bits. It's probably just going to be first and second. I can't see third and fourth being that bad. We'll pull apart yours first.
Yeah, I'll see how bad these are.
Those are probably fine.
Oh, the bearing's already off.
Yeah, for that
Yeah,
one.
so you can probably just pull that.
That's the shaft I don't need because that's third and fourth.
Oh, right. We're doing input shaft.
But
bearings need to go.
with my swap, I went from, I think, 120 horsepower from the stock EJ25. I don't remember how many horsepower. It never made the rated horsepower. Thing sluggish as hell. Behind an automatic. And now I'm making roughly 250 horsepower with the not STI, just WRX 6-speed. So we want to try to match Will's car. So last time I did this, I had a previous Subaru that was also 6-cylinder swapped. It was still a 5-speed, and when he KL swapped his, you KL swapped yours before I did mine.
Yeah. Well, really, you KL swapped it. But yes.
But when I came down here before I actually moved down here, we raced him on the back roads of Mexico, and we were pretty much neck and neck. Like,
yeah, it was like dead nuts even.
So we kind of want to keep it that way. So we need to bring his up to what all-wheel drive 250 horsepower would be. That's before drivetrain losses, so I'm probably really looking at 200. 200.
Right, and you weigh a bit more.
Yeah, the Subaru's a pig. It's like 4,000 pounds, 3,500, 4,000, something like that. His protege should weigh significantly less.
Better.
I would hope so. We should weigh the 6-speed versus the 5-speed. Be interesting to see how much the extra gear adds.
Yeah, especially considering how heavy the G6 was beforehand. Like, which is how much its case is and stuff.
I think it'll come out pretty even, honestly, because at least for the small G, because we have our shift shaft rod that's pretty heavy. I think that'd be enough to make up the difference. Although we had
It's not like crazy different.
I'm talking about the clutch shift thing, the clutch fork, since ours is cable.
Oh, sure.
Although their arms were also steel, like very thick cast steel.
Yes.
So we might still end up coming up on top compared to the G6. I want to mess with the all-wheel drive stuff now, because I've never really touched a GTX/R transmission. Well, I've messed with Tommy's a little bit, just playing with it in the back of the car.
Does he still have it? I thought he sold it.
I thought he still has the truck.
He has the truck, but I thought he sold the transmission already.
Why would he sell a transmission? He wants to keep it all-wheel drive.
Oh. I thought he had sold it. He sold the body kit.
Like, we've been loosely making plans. Oh, he's probably sold the body kit.
I know he sold the body kit.
That's money. But I guess
yeah, so was the trans.
Yeah, trans is what, like 5K at this point, something like that. No, I think he kept it because he wanted to keep it all-wheel drive. We've been loosely making plans of someday TM doing it. Like me and him just going down there for like a week or two and just getting it done.
Is this where you use the extenders?
The extenders go against the base plate. You put it's kind of backwards. You would think it would make sense to screw them on the top. That way you already realize, hey, I need longer. Let me just screw some more in.
But no, it's the long ones have this relief from the bar.
Yeah, you have to take it apart. It's silly.
Yeah, I guess I want to use the thicker ones. This would be nice to have a press. If you guys keep paying me to do this job, I'll buy a press and do it right.
I think you could use G5 gears on the G6 shaft, but you would lose the double cone synchros. Because there's no cone on the 6-speed gears.
Yeah.
The camera's not going to see that.
Right. That makes sense.
But physically, I think they will work with... Yeah, they'll work with the gate selectors.
Huh. That's cool. I mean, not helpful, but cool.
Unless someone really wants a certain gear ratio in a certain spot, they might give up the double cone just to get it.
Right, that's what I said before. I can do some... And there's a lot of options for the G6 still, so you can still do some swapping around. Once I get enough donors, I can build... Like, one person pay a lot, I give them the dream ratio, and the second person just gets leftovers. But... It's not like normally you can't pick and choose anyway, so it wouldn't really be a downside for the person getting the theoretical short end of that stick.
Now, we could technically do it so, same gear ratio with the double cone, but it would require extra machine work, which someone's not going to want to pay for.
Right.
That's a lot of hardened steel grinding. You pretty much have to turn that into this. It's pretty much cutting that entire face off and then putting 4 holes in it for the synchros. Doable, but not feasible.
That was actually easy.
Yeah, when the bearing thing can get behind the bearing,
Yeah, it just works.
I am mad mixing up these.
That's what I was saying. If we wanted to get a tub or something, you're like, nah, it's simple.
Well, it's pretty obvious. This is definitely a 6-speed gear. Like 100%. It wouldn't even work with 5-speed.
This is V2's shaft, right?
Sure.
Ah!
You're covering the part that... Yeah, it's V2's. It's a 6-speed at least, and that's the last 6-speed, so...
Do I need extensions to do this one?
Probably. It's pretty deep. You might be able to get away without it. With the buds all the way up. Oh yeah, you got that. We need to actually at some point figure out our Canada trip because I need to put it in my schedule before I have other stuff planned. I had to reschedule my doctor's appointment today to sometime in mid-March, so...
If William Shaw is still in the chat, please text Steven. Or text me, but text Steven because my phone's on it. He's botted out Rev 9 12s.
I wouldn't mind because that means less driving.
Well, so he's... Well, not really. I don't know if he'd be driving, but he'd be along for the ride because he lives up by Detroit. So for him to get to the border from his house, it's 20 minutes. It would give us another warm body to help buy transmissions. We're going to need the extensions.
No, I think you're good. That thing goes pretty flat. Oh, wait, that's the extension I'm looking at. Yeah. You should have a longer short shaft one. There's 2 sizes of screw
more thread into the...
No, I mean your main pulling ones. There should be 2 sizes.
Yeah,
that's
these
already a longer
these?
one. No.
Let's do this.
Okay, that's shorter than this.
Yeah.
This is the long one. That's what I was getting at. I thought there was a longer one of those.
No. If I had a press, I would just put this thing on here and knock it right out with the step plate adapters that I just got on eBay. Does anybody else have any cool questions about this stuff? Because now's the right time.
That's code word for commentary is hard sometimes.
I can talk about stuff all day, but there's only 4 people in here. I don't want to say stuff they've already heard too much because I don't know who's left from earlier and who's not, etc.
Oh, just not even using that bottom washer anymore?
No, I'm guessing it's actually just spare because it barely fits with both washers on. It doesn't really make sense to have the other one on it. Instead of bending one washer, it's bending 2.
Stop. Put an adapter or something on top of that so you're not going sideways before you break the end of the shaft off.
My problem is that it's going sideways because it's not tight on the bearing.
Well, that too.
Just tighten it right into the cage.
But still back to why I said you will crack the end of that if you don't have something that fits nicely.
That fits quite nicely. It's perfectly silver where it's just touching it. Just need to... Wow. I chipped the top of the bearing, but only with
The
edge of its
roller.
own. Yeah, its own roller chipped it.
It's crazy how weak the edge that doesn't get any work done to it is. I bet that back edge is like stupid strong. You know, the one that actually has the bearings pushed against it all the time. Did you guys figure out the plans for dinner?
Michelle made some chicken stuff, but I got a lot of snacks.
I smelled something in there while I was in there. That gas station pizza's starting to wear off.
At least it's just starting to wear off, not like starting to fuck up your entire day.
Oh, no, I'm still pretty
Because
good.
normally gas station blank is the precursor to saying something a lot worse
No,
than
this
wearing
is-
off.
This is one of the gas stations that actually does like homemade stuff. It's over in Paris. Like, you know, most of them you're bottomed out. Like most of them have the Hunt's Brothers pizza or whatever.
And
Now-
Fresh Hunt Brothers, not bad.
Now these make their own. Like you can tell by the you almost wrecked your tablet.
Charles said, I got the load screen as you said my name. LOL. I'm off of US 23 in Milan. I can pull a U-Haul trailer with my Fusion if we need to split groups. Blue Water Bridge in Port Huron is an option to cross to.
Yeah, we have to divide it like by car or by people because it's a $2,500 max. Is the problem?
Is that like per car 2,500 max?
I believe so. As long as you don't say you're coming over together.
Dude, you could just wreck someone's day with like a box truck and say, "Yeah, they're with me," and then have like $6,000 worth of stuff in the back of your car.
All right. So that's the hotspot. Is the hotspot actually is from the bearing?
Also, it's not even a hotspot; it's just from being pressed.
All right, and I can use that puller without damaging my speedo gear, right?
Yeah.
This trans was dirty inside, so it's got a lot of that weird staining. That's not
That's from the
necessarily
carbon.
bad. No, like just gross fluid.
Okay, yeah, feel that. You're gonna take your gloves off.
I can feel it's grabbing the fiber of the glove.
Now look at that one. They were wrecking that thing in second gear.
Good lord. I'm glad I bought new ones.
I'm surprised they didn't break the cables. Honestly, like they were They were hamming that
That's
up.
insane.
So I feel pretty good that these ones are going to be good.
Yeah. And then I want to put new ones on V2 anyway. So.
That's wild, the difference. Like, she was straight with us. She did tell her that they were, getting at it. So
No lies detected.
I honestly feel bad that she got wrecked over so bad because she seems like a nice person.
Yep. Always the good people get taken advantage of like that by shit shops.
They honestly should. She should have went back to that shop and told him to fuck right off.
Dude, it sounded like she was gonna.
Like,
I would be surprised if she did.
Like, I almost wanted to just go there for her. Like, I hate shops like that.
She was not taking that sitting down.
Well, the fact that they gave her an automatic the first time, like when she
Right.
went to buy it, that's just like at that point you can't blame her for not knowing the difference. She shouldn't even be the one picking up the transmission,
Right?
but then they're the ones who had to drive like countless hours to even find it. Oh yeah, about the Fusion transmission, we drove 6 hours to go get it, and then the person we bought it from she actually drove 6 hours to go get it for her car as she put it in. So that just shows you how hard these things are to actually find.
Rare transmission.
At least in the States. Ooh, there's a ball.
Yes.
I didn't know that actually came out, so I lost your other ball.
Probably would have heard it hit the floor earlier.
May have been.
What are the odds I have that same size ball just sitting in storage?
Possibly. They're probably a pretty standard size. Yep, let me try taking that apart in one piece. That one's looking
This is all from
good.
Subaru.
Really?
Yes, I saved them all from the floor. But it's not coming handy someday. Right, that element there.
That one's looking pretty good.
It does look pretty damn close. Oh, there. See, there's the right one. That was shiny, not dull.
Said, "Hey fellas,
Hey, Bill. Welcome to the stream. It's a good mess right now. Actually, we'll get the overhead for a second. Check out this mess.
Well, I'll let you see the mess before I take part of the mess. Where's your Harbor Freight puller? I'll just use
Right
that
here.
one so I'm not messing with you doing that.
I took the blowtorch to the mold the case. Nice. Heat the spot up, and I shoved this in there and put the lid. So now it actually stays in there.
Was there anything there to begin with?
Just the stuff that's already there. Oh my god. Now this seems to come off.
Bill, why don't you come and hang out more often? You don't have much work going on right now, do you? I think you mentioned it.
Seems like nobody does.
said, you don't want to see my garage.
Yeah, I heard you were getting pretty busy with some projects.
This one's even easier, probably because they weren't trying to neutral dump it in a second.
Well,
that shaft's really nice too.
Good.
So that's the way Mazda wants you to do it. Just take it apart in one piece. So this also goes over here because that's V2 stuff. These are the carbon ones. So yes, confirmed. Second gear is carbon.
Sick. There's a. Hang on. Are they not both carbon?
First gear is standard double cone. Second gear is carbon double cone.
Double carbon or
Double carbon. The inside's carbon, outside's carbon.
holy crap?
Which I'm looking at these. If you wanted to,
So I guess the other shaft has a synchro on it, though, right?
what shaft? Yeah, because that's second. Oh wait, this might be third, fourth. I thought third, fourth was on. No, those gears are bigger than these. This is third, fourth.
Said, I've got 4 Festies running and just started sourcing parts for the 94 Bronco.
Hell yeah, brother. 2 of them use the same double cone. Because when you order the parts for synchros, Mazda says this one you need to order 2. So I'm guessing this set right here is the same on top and bottom. That one and that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. We need to see if these are carbon, because that would be wild.
One of those would have to be carbon. It might be second, third carbon. Why would fifth be carbon then?
I don't know.
Fifth might okay.
If our third and fourth are this bad on this one, then first and second are probably even more wrecked.
I bet second and third are carbon. First doesn't need to be carbon. Fourth doesn't need to be carbon. Fifth is carbon just because.
It's not double.
Fifth is throwing me off. I guess. We'll take apart that stack anyways, I guess.
Yeah, because if that's first, second, they're probably boned on the
yeah.
fusion.
Anyway, back to what else?
Hang on, 1 second.
Every time.
But this is the other one. And the gear's still locked under it, right? I can't pull this out yet.
Yeah.
Balls. So how do we get this one off?
If you can find out which one's a carbon, the part number,
It doesn't say.
Well, you're getting the parts.
When they get here, sure.
I think you can do a full carbon transmission then.
If you just bought double of the carbon side.
And then buy a fifth for sixth.
Are they tabbed, though?
Yeah. Well, both of these... Okay, hold up. Let me check. Which one's carbon? Wait, let me push them down a little more. They are key. There we go. Which one's carbon?
Well, hang on. I don't know yet, but I just want to check the keyway. Because this one has notches. That one doesn't.
I don't see why. There's really no notches in either of the gears. It must just be an identification or something.
I'm going to say...
Or which one's different?
Okay, I think that's the carbon one with the extra divots. It's also, this one's got relief cuts here, here, and here, and that one doesn't. So I don't think you can just swap them across.
The relief cuts just make it easier to shift. Remember how I was talking about how old school?
Now on the flip side, this one's got these 3 spots for the things, right? Oh no, this one does too.
They're just a little cleaner. Remember how I talked about how the old school drag guys, that was cheating.
Right.
I
already said this is carbon.
Yeah, just used to cut the teeth off just to make it shift easier. I think that's the same concept with that.
Yeah, it might be.
It's also, the teeth are the same, so you could really just grind them off, the extras.
It's a lot of work.
If you want a full carbon box.
True. It'd be really bad for my diff to leave those in there.
Okay, I'm putting both of these in the G6 box.
Okay. Alright, how do I get in here?
Just pinch it really hard.
I just did that. I'm tearing up my tool.
Your Harbor Freight one's torn up too. Now without the cage there, you can really see where you're pinching. For the people watching, the diff bearings on Mazda transmissions, they have an extremely tight press fit. Like, even in the press... Did we try it in the press at Nate's? No.
I don't remember if we did.
Either way, they're pretty much a blind press or all the way up to the back surface, so there's almost no room to get a tool in. And they're just a pain. It's almost like they Loctite them on. Like, that's how tight of a press fit they put.
I don't want to melt this one because I really don't want to melt the gear.
Which makes no sense. Well, we should have a surplus of gears. They're the same between 5 and 6 speed.
So melt it. I also need to have backups for people who have like a LSD MSP trans. The MSP does not have the sensor.
Really?
But yeah, because it uses ABS. Because all the MSPs have ABS. And then Protege5s with ABS don't have it because they use ABS. Any model that didn't have ABS has to have the ring gear added. So if people want to swap around,
so they still have the spot, they still have the gear.
Right.
So it's kind of
just like the Mazda.
Like the M5.
Yeah.
Before you tighten it too much, put your top piece on and tighten that down. That way it doesn't triangle in. So yeah, I'm thinking second, third are carbon, fourth is not carbon because it's double cone still. You're not really rushing into fourth. Maybe. I mean, that's top of fourth is, you know, excess of 100. And fifth is just carbon because it goes back to silicone. And then sixth, they figured it, I guess, because it's 6. Oh, you didn't even tighten those down.
I did. I've already loose that had big pack.
Okay. Fifth and sixth gear are interchangeable. They look identical. Or, well, synchros. Makes sense because the gears are interchangeable. But fifth gear has a little nibble right there. So I think that's another identification thing. That's the only difference. Or sorry, that's sixth. Non-carbon.
Right.
Nope. Now you moved it. I think I see a gap. No.
I wish.
Probably gonna have to grind it the same way we did the last time then.
Well, Steven, balls. Balls.
Well, I guess I'll pull apart this stack too then, because there's a good chance we're gonna have to. Do you have a pick? Like handy?
Else said, yo,
Who dat?
Bob Dales. Oh wait, you got some good snap ring pliers now, don't you?
Yes.
I'll use those, like the actual proper tool.
Good idea.
You know where they're at?
Yes. Box. Good boxes. Welcome, Bob Bales. Back to overview for a second. Bam. Trying to grind off some bearing races that are not cooperating.
what real snap ring pliers? That's insane.
Yeah, they're on sale for really cheap.
And the funny thing is,
Hunter grabbed them for me.
these aren't even technically snap rings. The full definition of the sense, at least not for these tools. They're technically snap rings, but they're the blind
clip,
ones.
Right?
Yeah, more in the circlip family. Oh, because you're grinding.
Yeah. I'm doing it the fast way. Hopefully not breaking it. Maybe I'll find a good tool to go with. I also suppose it's not today. Get the hammer over there somewhere?
Yeah, you're probably just staring at it.
Oh, it's on the other side of the vise.
Just don't cut your finger in half.
Yeah, good idea.
If you broke it and it's bending, you can use the polar now.
I don't think I have yet. That might have done it. Sure looks like we need that shaft protector. It's going. Hey, we need those threads.
They're fine. I mean, I can make them bad if you want me to.
Ideally not. Alright, did he bone it? Did he bone it? Just barely. That's going to be fine.
It'll work.
That's nothing. And barely, I just tapped the edge of that gear. Totally fine. I don't know what else to do, though, because this is the tool that the book uses, and it sucks. What else can I do? You know?
I need some, like, super long bolt, or the next size up. Is that one bigger than this? It looks bigger.
I don't think so. I can buy the bigger one. If we're going to need it to this job.
If we're splitting stacks, we're going to need it.
Okay.
No, it's about the same length.
Yeah.
Oh, that might work. Good enough. I just need the bolts to stay in. They don't necessarily have to, hold it tight. Okay. That one is definitely second.
This is a bad shaft or good shaft?
This is your good shaft. That's standard, or brass. But this is like a triple synchro. So it has that surface, and this inside surface. but they also put some on the outside surface.
Oh, wow.
So it catches right here, too. So that's not compatible with these ones, because these ones don't have that. I think it would technically still work. So yeah, you could put carbon synchros in that. And then, yeah, they still engage. Yeah. You just lose your third surface. Fourth? Third. Something.
Third teeth set.
Yeah. I guess it's up to you if those teeth are worth more than going to carbon.
Yeah, I'd leave it how it is. Also, it's the ones I bought, so.
Oh, that's why that wasn't working. I was trying to press off the center selector and that at the same time. I feel like I'm yelling. There's a snap ring in between first and second that third and fourth didn't have.
That'd do it. You know what? Last time I said I wish I had toaster oven for this bearing install job, and now I do. I'm going to see if it still works. It's been sitting out here on this shelf forever. Wouldn't that be nice if it just drops on?
I don't think it will. It's a super tight press fit.
Yeah, I don't think it's there, but I'm willing to give it a college try. Convection bake, max temp. How long can I bake a bearing? 10 minutes?
That sounds like plenty.
Make a noise.
I make plenty of noise when I warm up too.
How did that? He says, grabbing his shafts.
I'm not just grabbing it, I'm playing with it right now.
He's yoinking these shafts.
No one knows how to handle a shaft like this.
I'd say you were learning how to handle a shaft right now.
Dude, I'm learning how to play with the shaft so much right now. It just takes experience. You just have to do it.
Alright, go on the tablet real quick and choose mobile cam. Oh, God. Now don't.
If I wasn't fist deep in the shaft right now, I would.
It's deep. Hot, dang.
Fuck. Okay. Which one?
Last one. Mobile cam. Note 4 mobile. Something like that.
Note 4 mobile.
Yep.
The one I was hovering over and you said no, the next one.
I thought it was the last one. Just stack it. It's not. There it is, chat. We got a bearing in the oven. We're going to see if I can heat up enough to drop it on the diff. We're at max temp, 450, bake mode. Set the timer. Alright. This has been sitting back here in the corner of the shed for 4 years, not turned on. I can't believe it's smelling more like brain dirt right now. But I guess the lid's been closed, so.
I know this isn't the proper tool for this flavor of snap ring, but it doesn't make up for the fact that snap rings are a terrible fastener.
Which style would you rather have that the icon set does not have? The flat
This has
base one?
Yeah, this has like those weird flat ones.
So you'd rather have the flat ring separator?
I'd rather not use these damn clips.
Well, considering it's not optional. Are these sitting there? Oh, we got an old set.
These teeth style ain't really meant for
Right.
the end clamp style. Like, it's not. That's not an issue. Spreading it's fine. I can spread it.
Jaw 3 RD
I
said,
think it's stuck on that side.
add some Cajun seasoning.
To the bearing? Yeah, that'd be good.
Bill Taylor said, couple that with a ultra low temp freezer for the shaft and you'll be in business.
I mean, like literally, it's like 10 degrees outside. I'm just throwing the snow. Here, let me spread it while you dip with the thing. Oh, bastard.
I got it. Now that's up. Yeah, that's why I want the 90-degree ones. It's just a better angle.
Well, maybe I'll go buy a flat tip one. Again, I'm going to waste the entire profit of the first time doing this on tools to make it easier to just the last 2 times I ever do it, but when in Rome or whatever. Don't let me forget to put this ring gear back on. You see me come back in, the ding dings with the cold diff? I got to put that back on. I see movement. I hear movement. Tool already here.
Okay. First and second are like triple cone. Third is full carbon double cone. Fourth is standard double cone. Fifth is carbon single cone. And sixth is standard.
So every time you drop a level, it gets one level more weak or standard.
Imagine they made that triple cone carbon. I forgot why I took that stack apart. Oh yeah, we needed the synchros for this one. What time is it?
8:45.
Never mind. Well, actually, hold up.
You want time budget?
No,
Or it's snack
no.
time?
I was about to just like go grab my dinner. A dinner. Food of sorts.
Ordering pizza sounds like a great idea right now. All right, I want the driver handle, so I don't do this. I don't like this. You can take that home. I want to keep these nice. This doesn't really fit though.
Whoever had your M5 that your gear set came from knows how to drive a standard.
Well, it's Canadian, so makes sense.
Yeah. Because everything's it's dirty inside, but everything's minty.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I just thought something's cooking. All right. I'm still like 5-year-old pizza crust bits burning in the toaster oven.
I was just gonna grab Panda Express, but I think they closed at 9.
Yeah, pizza sounds good though.
Oh,
All right, real quick on your phone. Can you go to eBay?
I guess. That's... hold on 1 second. They close at 10:30. Okay.
Nice.
eBay.
Yeah. T80T-4000-W. Yeah, so like that's the Freedom Racing people that have it like all the time. I don't want to pay them.
Amazon has it.
Well, how much?
Well,
of course.
That's half of it, I think.
Yeah, try that one. It's the only picture they have. Fantastic.
$16 though.
Right. I don't pay that. There's the handle for 86. Jesus Christ.
I think it's the same one I just clicked on. Except that's the actual full website version. Anything similar?
Go back down to that one. Try that number at eBay.
25 or 12. I'm just gonna copy it. Unless it's one of those websites that don't let you copy.
Like car ID.
I hate that so much.
Yeah, try that version of eBay.
How much is it just directly from them? Oh, I have my cookies. Can you even buy directly from them?
I don't think so.
Chaw3RD said, eBay saved searches with text notification has been a godsend on weird niche parts and tools.
It doesn't have a picture, but same
Here,
areas.
I'll do mine for a second. It's just driver handle. Sometimes people don't have the numbers, and it's cheaper when they don't have the numbers.
Oh, neat. OTC makes it like a universal clutch alignment tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just a bunch of cones.
Vintage OTC bushing driver handle. Government issue.
Oh.
Okay.
Probably cost the government like $8,000 then.
I mean, Freedom Racing having it brand new for $39 is actually not that bad. All right, I'm gonna grab. Oh, there it goes. I'm gonna say I think it's about ready, and it is. What are the odds it just slips on? All right, Steven, give us overhead again.
I wish there was some tactical feedback, so I know I actually clicked
I
it.
think you can set it up. You can hit button colored and then wait till you press it.
I think it changed. I just clicked it again just in case.
The Destroyer said,
Did not work.
do not forget to add that part back.
Good looking out. Bam. All right, I'll probably get like tongs or something. I don't think grabbing it with this is a good idea.
Grab a pair of these, the bigger pair, and just on the inside.
Ooh, it's smoking.
Oh, looks like it might have actually started. Try that first. Okay, try the metal one because you're cooling down rapidly.
Bam.
Marginally easier.
Worth doing, I think.
Okay.
bottom of it in the snow then and put this in the thing.
You know, I just had the stupid idea of just actually putting an oil pump on one of these since it has a steel or aluminum end case. You could drill and tap fittings for it. It doesn't have to be pressurized, but it's something that forcibly puts oil down the shafts instead of just dripping.
Not excessive.
I mean, it is, but to the same extent, it looks like the G6 still has the same oiling problem.
Potentially.
This one looked fine. Your first gear, because, yeah. I mean, you can tell where it wasn't because that small band down there where it wasn't riding.
Sure.
But it's not like that one, at least.
All right, so now it's fun reassembly with all the synchros, right?
I almost want to count the teeth. Oh no, the shafts are still unavailable new. I just feel bad putting that scarring back.
I could maybe get the shaft new, but they're
It
like,
wouldn't be cheap.
yeah, they're $348 minimum.
It'd be almost more worth it just to find another transmission.
Right.
I think it should be fine. It doesn't feel terrible.
We can take a little bit more off of it.
I'm not sure if you would want thinner oil just so it gets in there better or just thicker oil.
That's the 1500. Probably chuck up on the shaft, just hold paper on it.
You do have the torque tube adapter.
There.
I don't know if I trust your spring after that display.
Not my fault the can was pressurized.
Haven't you ever learned trigger discipline?
Not really. One of these, wasn't it?
Shaw 3RD said, I've been running motorcycle 4T full synthetic in my regular 5-speed.
That's what most of us use. That's what I use.
Yeah, I've got MTF right now because it was cheap. It's about the same as Synchro, which is about the same as bike oil. And I got that from the that was closing down. That was like $5 a jug or something. The regular's like 12 or 14 now. It's gotten crazy. Oh yeah, I like that.
There you go. I guess oh, there it is.
A little better again. I mean, it definitely got hurt, but
I can go with the 600 grit again, or 400. I feel like we need something a little more aggressive than polish it with that one.
I could try 1,000 instead. Happy medium. Especially since we're not going in two directions.
Did that camera actually change? I know it has like a minute delay sometimes.
We're still on overhead.
Okay, then no, it didn't. Yeah, these need to like glow or something.
Which one do you want?
The one that's facing us.
Oh, that's the first one. Yep.
Well, we'll just touch it real quick at 400 in my lube.
Here. I got 8. 8's my next step after 4.
I mean, 4 doesn't feel bad. That's what they use for, crank grinding.
Yeah, the damn package. Poor man's lathes. Every Milwaukee tool is a lathe.
wish I was poor enough to use a $400 shaft to make a homemade half-ass blade. I'm gonna grab a little carbon.
And they're always going to be there, but
Yeah, we're not gonna get rid of them, but that definitely
now we're going to have more info oil in there.
that's feeling better. Now we'll go back to the 15 and get it actually polished. Oh yeah, that feels much better. I guess not really catching my finger anymore.
Nice.
It's always going to be there. But
Right. That'll be alright.
Not this one. Definitely not that one. It must be this one. Did we actually clean this up pretty nicely, though?
I hit it with the green thing. Green spongy thing.
It was this one.
No, it's that one. That thin spongy thing. Because I cleaned the outside edge too. It had all those little white spots on it.
Well, I guess it's pretty comparable to the other ones then.
We're good.
Real test is give her some sauce and see how it spins. Feels much better.
And it's not loose.
I mean, I'm not sure what their spec was to begin with. It's not loose to the point I'd worry about it. Like, we took off almost nothing. It's a hardened shaft.
Right.
I think we're good. I'm much more happy with that than how it was, put it that way. Okay, this one should be carbon. Make sure I grab the right one. I think this is the old one. Oh yeah, because up here. Yeah, that does actually look better. So,
And that has an orientation, doesn't it?
kind of.
Since it's got 4
It has those
teeth,
four.
but it's got 3 on the
It
outside.
has those 4 teeth that go in there, but this outside locks into the inside.
Right. But the outside's only got 3 cut out, so is there a certain orientation the 4 have to be in, or no?
No, these 3 are, triangle. They're 3 away or the same distance, degrees, whatever. They lock into these.
And that thing rotates in any direction.
Yeah. So it ties. What it does is it ties your synchros to your gears. That way, when it actually goes to press on them, it's tied in. Well, it doesn't tie the synchros. It ties that center metal shaft,
Right.
the center steel cone. But it pretty much ties them together since carbon's grippy as hell. So that explains why there's so much carbon in the oil, because you have at least 2 carbon, 3.
Yeah, 3. Double carbon and then one other carbon.
The one single cone carbon. And then, right in front of my face.
So it goes triple brass, double carbon, double brass, single carbon, single brass.
triple, double carbon, double regular, carbon, brass.
And that's the better one of the 2?
Yeah. This is easy
that
enough.
means I have to buy one of those then. that.
This?
Yeah.
Oh, this? No, this isn't the better one of the two. I thought you meant the.
Is it the same as the 5-speed or no?
That I think so. I need a 5-speed one to compare. That one you can violently take off. Because these don't interact with the Synchros at all, other than the outside tiny teeth.
Is the input shaft one or the output shaft one?
This is the input shaft one. We haven't taken apart your Protege 6-speed output shaft yet.
I know what's the problem. My one already had bearings off, but I don't.
Oh.
They also.
Well, you only have to take the one side bearings off on that.
This one.
Yeah. We don't have any 5-speeds with bearings.
I do output shaft.
Oh.
But yeah, besides that, there was no need to. Because that's one right there too, right? Isn't that the 5-speed one right in front of you?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's our third one. The other two both have bearings. There's number 3.
You know what? Just for the sake of doing it, let's tray the shaft out. I mean, some brake cleanup high would be a smarter choice, but it's just going to flush out with oil. Is it full? Full enough. Some weird smelling brake clean.
It's the Walmart parts cleaner, isn't it? Oh, it's CarQuest at least.
Do you have another rag? I just tossed that one right on the ground.
Oh, another clean one?
Yeah.
I brought a handful over here.
I only used the one that you brought over, so those must be clean then. That's exactly what I did.
Well, I just vacuumed in here yesterday. It should be pretty good.
Well, mine fell into the pile of crap I just blew out of the shaft, so.
Should have grabbed that before I got over here.
It looks like it was moving though. Yeah, a whole lot of nuts. Always gotta hold your boy's nuts every now and again.
So true.
So I dumped some oil down the shaft, and it's kind of neat to see it actually come out all the holes.
Oh, actually, yeah. Look at it go. Right over your little check ball thing. Whatever it does.
So if you get like something that's high volume, not necessarily high pressure pump, you can just put it at the end case and just really shoot oil down it.
Right down the shaft.
There it goes. It's getting popped for these things. Watch your arm. There.
I think it's not nearly as hard as the 6 was.
Well, I also wasn't just beating on it.
Okay, this is 5-speed part.
It has to be hammered off. Oh wait, that one has a clip. That doesn't mean it's not compatible. It just means it has a clip.
That one does too, right? Oh, the C-clip.
Yeah.
We'll see. Pliers, I suppose.
I guess for some reason they figured this one didn't need it. I guess it's one good thing Mazda does actually innovate. They change their shit once they realize it doesn't work great. Instead of, like Ford that still has a shitty belt in their EcoBoost.
Well, I wouldn't say it didn't work great, but there's changes to be made that
Tell me one
don't cost
liter
$1 billion.
EcoBoost that's actually reliable.
Grab the pick.
Do they do the silly oil belt and anything bigger than the 1 liter EcoBoost?
I don't know enough about EcoBoost to know if they changed it or not. You can get it in that third slot, right?
This?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I'm behind it now, so it's not going to drop back in. Unless you care about that clip, just break it off.
What?
Pull harder on this pick or something. Once it bends, it's going to be, bent for good.
There we go. Right? No, still not enough. Come on, you big turd.
Just don't put your finger in front of that pick.
No. Glove's not going to stop that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I did just mention how it was the press fit. Oh, is that one not a press fit? I mean, I guess
I think
this
it
one
is.
Oh,
Look
look
at the top edge. Where's your pick at?
there. All the cones are smaller from there on out. You should be able to just walk it up. I guess if we didn't bend it all to hell. We didn't need that anyways.
Now we're bent, just grabbing the edge of the next step.
Now adjust your pullers so they're behind this gear. Kind of on that ledge. I wonder how they hold these shafts straight when they heat treat them. Because that's a big thing that we have problems with when we heat treat. Stuff warps pretty good, so we have to add a lot of tolerance on for grinding. So I guess they could add tolerance on for grinding, but that would be a lot, especially when you have these teeth are already formed before they heat treat it.
Right. Easy.
Yeah, like that was a pretty loose press fit.
Offsets look the same to me.
I couldn't tell the difference unless you told me they were different. It wouldn't make sense for them to be different. Actually, we might need that center bit because this one would have been kind of wailed on too. For the outside that you dropped it, so we didn't need. We might need it. Yeah, this one's significantly better. Oh, that had a bunch of metal in there.
It does.
It looks like just brass from the synchros.
I just knock it around a bit. Wow, in comparison, this one looks mint. Looks the different thickness.
It's weird. This one has a raw edge on it. But I'm wondering if these steps are necessary because they want to machine them if they weren't.
Right, and it looks like the inside width is different too, but it's just a color difference.
It might just be color. I mean, that's something we can easily measure.
No, yeah, it's a lot different where it's machined because these teeth stick out more. Look at how the teeth stick out on the edge there, and here they don't.
Oh. Yeah, that might
So
be.
the G6 one.
Feels wrong. Because
Not
they're
that
rounded over. You can feel a sharp edge on them because they're rounded over. It'll probably be fine. That's just third, fourth.
And I could probably buy that bit. Just it'd be a month and a half to get here.
God, they would have had to just hold it there grinding. So I get
Yeah, not even trying to recommend it, just piss slamming it.
the one side looks fine. The one this side that looks really bad is probably the side that had the melted synchros. Well, taking a month to get here is not a terrible thing. We could just steal them from pretty much steal all the V2 bits at this point.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because we need your protege running before V2 at this point.
Right.
Ideally.
Yep. Well, there it is then.
Although I am slightly concerned about this, not that one. This shaft doesn't have any of these on it. We haven't taken apart your input shaft.
Right.
It's been on the way to destination for the past week.
Cool.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah. It's in America. Since I showed you that text that it was in California, how they do their on way to destination or something like that.
Right.
So it said that for a while now.
Alright, the one we need, that piece that we need, that's on the input shaft side, right?
Yeah.
Hub set, clutch, third and fourth.
So
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how bad your first and second are then. If they're ramming it in the third that hard, first and second has to be even worse.
Should I just go ahead and order the hub clutch for those two?
I think we should pull it apart before you order it because we don't need to order it exactly right now.
Well, it's going to take 10 months to get here.
Well, 30 minutes isn't going to make a difference.
First and second hub clutch set, I can get for cheap, less than $100. Third, fourth, even less than that. So I'll just stick them both in the cart for now.
Do they have them on the normal website or is that through the supplier?
This is from Lost Japan.
Okay.
Good question though. How much is it if I don't work from Japan?
You might be able to find it in the States, given that. Oh no, this transmission wasn't used that much.
It is 3 times as much in the U.S.
A month is sounding pretty good.
looks like the input shaft's only like not that much. Should I try one to see if they actually have one?
I mean, we don't necessarily need it. Your shaft is fine. We cleaned up.
Yeah, probably not worth trying, honestly.
Especially if it's not something you need, don't want to go.
Alright, anything else we should get while we're in here? Those three little guys?
Does the diagram show like position of the synchros?
Yes.
When you click on said position, does it just bring up all of them like it usually does?
No.
Oh, really? So see what the second gear set part number is.
With the Synchro?
Yeah.
That's one under the hub clutch set, right?
That's the one on
First
the
and second clutch set.
that's on the secondary shaft. It's the second gear end. The very first
Hang
gear
on,
is
so you want one for first gear or for second gear?
second gear.
Yeah, this is second gear right here, which means this is Synchro.
It's
That's an expensive Synchro.
that's the double carbon one.
That explains the freaking price.
If it's for second, wait, see if it has the notches in the picture. I think they're on the other side.
Notch.
No, the ones I'm talking about are on the other side. The ones that have the notches on the tabs that go in the gear. You know, the little
Oh, yeah.
and then cut out.
Yeah, backside.
So you really can't see on that. How much was it? I guess it's not really that bad. I mean, think about
Wait, what, the ones I got, I swear, are cheaper. Hang on a second. 'Cause I just ordered a bunch. Right here. Oh, no, I did. Yeah, and that's the one that you need two of.
there's not two of them.
According to them, it is.
That would. Oh wait, that is. First and second are the same style because they're triple cutting. So third gear is the one that has the double carbon. That's what I was looking at.
Okay, so that would be, so this is hub, clutch, third, and fourth. This is 30 gear, third, which means this, 17.2, this is number 2. This should be carbon.
Okay.
Third.
That's really not that bad. You could modify it to have a full carbon box if you wanted for that.
Yeah,
So you need-
assuming those would be this cross compatible.
I think you could make it work. So you need 3 more of those to make it a full box, and then 1 more fifth gear.
But it's not the same. I thought third, fourth were different size than first, second.
No, physically they're the same size. As long as
Oh, there's missing that extra lip.
yeah, there's missing the extra set of teeth on the inside.
Alright, there's the tiny thing right there.
So how much was the fifth gear synchronizer?
Synchronizer key. That's F-series stuff. So it'd be definitely compatible with
So
the V5.
everything, yeah.
Yep, and the same for the other one. The other one's also an F-series part. So. What is that? Friction damper.
Oh, that's what that is. That what that little ring is for? Right in the fifth or first?
This would be it right between second and third. Right between second and third, tiny disc.
Should be between
It's
second
saying
and third.
friction damper.
Second and third's not the same shaft. I guess they are. The driven versus driven.
Yeah, versus on the output shaft.
Is that what
we
they
haven't taken it apart yet, right?
we have for 6 feet?
Oh yeah,
Couple
it
years.
says there's a friction
Oh,
damper.
that must be what they consider that piece of shit clip. The one that we had trouble getting off.
Well, there's a clip on the other side of it though. This is what we took off. What
There-
we took off is ring, comma, retaining.
There's 2 clips on the
top
6
one,
feet.
bottom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, top one is also called ring retaining. Different part number.
Well, the only other ring on the shaft is at the very end, past first. That's this little weird looking thing. It looks more like a seal than anything.
Oh, that's what it is. There it is.
Oh.
So yeah, there's a friction damper.
Okay. You're pointing at something that's way up here.
I mean, there's probably one between both sets then.
That's the only one that's in there. The only other thing that's remotely close to that is those clips. Okay, I'm gonna go get me hot food. I'm starting to get a headache now, so the hunger's setting in.
Yeah, no, there's 2 friction dampers. There's supposed to be. There's different versions. There's number 1, number 2, and that's what the whole thing is.
Is that just a version change or something? Like, did they change it later on to put 2, or?
The one we're looking at is for the M6. So
you got a picture of it, like an actual picture from the supplier website?
Good question. No. But G5, so like I used earlier. Adjustion. Yeah, they call them different things. One called it the damper, one called it friction. That's the Synchro. Yeah, this one's a friction damper.
That friction damper probably is that one because that's definitely never been on G5 and it's a G6 number. That being new enough, you might be able to find a picture. Gotta love when Google Images gives you like 6 things. You know you're looking at some obscure stuff then.
Alright, well, we'll probably call the stream there then for now. We'll probably come back out later after we get some food.
I'm good all night.
And we'll just Steve and I will prep the shafts for assembly. Oh, diff time. And tomorrow we'll start a new stream and actually assemble it.
Yeah, I think
once we've prepared some stuff here.
I think we can get the shafts back together tonight. We could assemble the transmission tonight if you didn't care about some melty synchros, but it's something we should care about.
Right, I can do that. I'll go grab the hot stuff.
Oh, she's definitely cold this time.
Yeah, it's like sticking. Oh, the bearing almost got quite hot this time.
Smells hot. Smells definitely a little easier, but it's still a press fit even that hot,
which is good.
Yeah,
we got some color on the rollers now.
That bearing's never coming off.
Hot seal.
Yeah, we should have measured it. I wonder what their press fit actually is.
Oh, yeah, we can measure it cold.
Oh, not now. There's no shaft to measure.
We got another diff to do. The diff's plural to do, honestly, long term. All right. Anybody else in chat have any questions before we sign off? And hang on. Yes.
I wonder if this thing is the second. You're gonna rust that.
Give me that instead. Or give me the MTF.
That might actually catch on fire.
Might case harden at that point. She's mint. It cooled down pretty fast.
I'll say the stuff flash rusts pretty fast when it's hot and gets water. So
it'd be fine. It's gonna be submersion fluid.
I think this is one of them. I think that might actually be the second one. Because there's definitely nothing. I don't know what that is. That's not part of the shaft. That's pressed on. And then this goes over it. That holds the ring in place. Because the only other thing that's similar to that is these clips.
Unless it's still stuck on a gear.
Possible? Unlikely, but possible.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it was the second one.
There it is.
The same thing, too. Yep. Is it though?
Jackson
Gotta be.
said,
That's got
I
three.
love what you guys are doing. Exciting stuff with the 6-speed G series.
Yes, I'm pretty hype. A lot of just like cool stuff, a lot of world first, and most of all, I'm really excited to shift a bunch of extra times. Although we tried so hard to make the diff ratios better for cruising that it's actually almost a wash as far as like first, second, third, but like fourth and fifth, like highway wise, you'd be shifting a lot more, which is gonna be really cool because already the G series, like your first, second pull is pretty good, your third gear pull is pretty damn
Which
good.
is almost great for around here because we get a lot of traffic, so you can't really lug it in some gears. Like,
but now with V6T, you should be in boost, like the peak of boost. Especially if you have an ECU, you can flat shift. Before it was kind of a waste of time, but now with the extra gear, it might actually be worth turning on flat shift, having it go anti-lag as soon as the clutch in, keeping it in boost. You go in the next gear with your carbon synchro and like launch every time into third and fourth at full boost. It could be a rowdy ride. And the new shaft might actually take that abuse at least a couple times.
I flash shifted with my G5 a couple times with the Festiva. I mean, I didn't get any grip, so I guess I wasn't putting that much torque through it.
Right.
But it held up just fine.
Yeah,
Flash
imagine
shifting's
now
fun.
being like every gear, especially with the M5 version, the graph is like a perfect baby logarithm. So it's like third gear, you're at 35, 36, and then boom, it's 42, 48, 49, and you're cruising at 6.
Yeah, when you're drag racing, flash shifting, it makes the meme. Never let up.
And Speeduno totally supports it with a ton of settings, so you can actually have anti-lag.
The funny thing about the way with flash shifting, how it works on a physical side, not physical. Can't think of the word. Scientific, maybe. Since engines are just air pumps.
Yeah.
I never really wrapped my mind around that until I lost ignition in my V6T car, and that's how the flat dead ground I could still hear the turbo spooling with no ignition.
Any chances third would survive better with the 6-speed setup? My 300 HP P5 would eat third with LSD.
It should.
Yes, so it's not like a ton stronger, but due to the extra bearing, although the center bearings are the same distance, the third bearing should change how the shaft flex. It should reduce the flex point across third. That and the case rigidity being added at the end should help the shaft not want to move within the case even more so. And
actually,
the 6-speed bearings are physically beefier bearings. It's the same footprint, but they use much beefier rollers on the bearings. So there should be less chance for the cage of the bearing physically to flex and for the race to move around.
The shaft actually has thicker bits too. The thin section is much smaller. I guess not. They moved the shaft a little bit. How'd they fit that?
But it's harder. The whole shaft is super hard compared to the G5 shaft.
Yeah,
it still flexes some.
Said, I'm just in the tow truck watching between calls. Was sent 2 towns away while I was headed home. I'm right by the main shop, so I'm submitting a request off for 7, 8, 14, 15 right now.
Hell yeah, we'll make it work.
Said, I love you guys, thank you.
We love you.
Yeah, the case hardening's at least 30,000 thick. It's a thick ass.
Yeah, it's so hard. So I won't say it will break, but it's more likely to snap than bend compared to the G5 one being more likely to snap than bend. It's so fucking hard, which is a pain because we have to cut it for the Festiva fitment stuff. Protege stuff, there's no cutting, so you don't have to worry about that for the Protege KL stuff.
There's almost no cutting for the Festiva stuff either. We had to grind it.
Yeah, cutting's kind of a misnomer. But yeah, it's super case hardened, and the extra bearing support plus the case support, it should definitely help. It's still not bulletproof. The Toyota Trans is still probably stronger, but this is going to help. And you get an extra gear, so what's not to love?
I will be taking it into work. I work at a not really machine shop per se. I work in the machine department. I work in tool and die, and we have very expensive, fancy hardness testers, so I'll actually have some specs for the surface hardness. G6 versus 5.
Do you remember how we'd clean all stuff off and hey, it's like a dark chrome finish after the cleaner? Well, there's a new old stock one. You can legitimately tell the difference in finish. Yeah. They're both shiny and smooth, but the darkness is actually kind of cool. But I think it also means I probably can't use this. It'll look very out of place.
I prefer the bright aluminum, honestly.
You can probably get this back in your trans, but
you have to blast it.
I got something just for this. I want to test it tonight at some point. I think, over there. That little white box, those are pure brass ones. It took me forever to find ones that were actual brass, not brass-coated steel. But that means with the brass ones, I should be able to really dig in on the trans and clean it.
Technically, yes. It won't harm it, but you'll kill those bristles quick as hell.
Yes. They're weaker, for sure. But I also bought these. These are fine steel wheels instead of the coarse ones.
You're really not going to get the shine back with any type of abrasive grinding. You have to pretty much blast it.
You get the sponge balls get really close to the stock finish. To shine, I tried it on one of my end caps before, just this part. If you just hit this with the 800 real quick, it actually leaves it very nice. But I don't want to hand sand my entire transmission case because then I'll be tempted to go to 1,000, and then I'll be tempted to go to 2.
Yeah,
then I'll be tempted to hit those. Yeah, I'll be tempted now I'm doing all that. What if I just hit it with some others real quick?
Yeah, that thing's gonna have to be low speed. Put that in a grinder, I think it's gonna explode. That's so fine.
I want to see what it looks like real quick. Oh, hey, look, transmission.
When we take apart one of these G5 shafts, let's cut the snout off, the part that goes in the transmission, so I can take it into work. We can't really cut a G6 one, but we can grab a ring gear from G6.
Did you grab those ring gears from Nate?
No.
Oh, but I have one chipped.
Yeah, that's a G6 one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We can use a G6 ring gear, but I'll use like a G5 shaft. It should be
Oh,
the same.
compare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we have any G5. Well, we kind of do. We have the F series ring gear.
True.
Wow.
It's actually, it's nearly polishing.
Yeah, that's the problem with rotary abrasion like that. It more polishes than anything.
Well, so I think the steel ones, I like the steel ones for getting the dirt off, but you don't want to do too hard with the steel because it leaves marks all over the damn thing. This, though, if I do it right here, where we already used the steel one,
I mean, what's the hardness value for aluminum versus brass?
very similar.
Yeah. So you literally are just polishing it.
Yeah, not strong enough fitting off. All right, let me try that soft steel one real quick. It'll end the stream.
I don't know where it is. Oh, wait.
Forty, my guys. I thought I'd buy an actual name brand one instead of Chinese ones.
I didn't even realize that was. Oh yeah, look at that.
It was not like that expensive. It was, I think, we'll see.
Dude, they don't even stab you.
Yeah.
Like I can
It's so
just
soft.
I can just straight up fist this thing and it's just it's like horse hair.
Not like we recommend fisting a brass hairy object.
I wouldn't want to really fist any hairy objects.
Brother, you gotta live. You gotta live more. You gotta get out there, son. Anyway, welcome back to the Sand Industries. All right, let's try the end cap. I guess since this end cap's not clean. Excuse me.
Yeah, they couldn't see a thing you were doing.
Yeah, I think that
Now they can.
this though is shiny as hell. Somebody bought those just to do deposition style stuff.
Really?
If you run the brass hot enough on stuff, it starts to deposit brass into the pores like steel. So it's like a partial anodization thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's like the thing you can attach to the brass wire wheels. I had no idea.
Spender.
Yeah. Oh, God. Try to shoot.
I don't think I'd lose much height. I could just kind of grind this flat, weld a square plate over this, and have the fittings on top. I don't know. After money shifting my car at 80 miles an hour,
It's not gonna happen.
first. We say that's still an issue.
Oh, hello. Oh, it might be too soft for how gross this one was, but maybe not. Oh yeah, industry. We'll get some food 'cause I'm hungry. That looks kind of shitty still, so I need more aggressive. All right, bye guys. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon, noonish. See us then.